Apocalypse begins by collecting S.S.S level cards. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251. What kind of magical card is this? Okay, stop flattering me for now. Let's see how many floors we can reach in the end. Qin Lang does not expect to pass the Tower of Evolution with his current level, but he will receive rewards for each level he reaches. This reward will not be taken in vain. After a while, they adjusted their emotions and entered the 7th floor. Compared with the 6th floor, the difficulty of the 7th floor has increased several times. The monsters encountered on this floor cannot be defeated by the Gayaway trio at all, and they will explode if they take one more look. Of course, this is still very easy for Qin Language. He does not need any local skills to directly crush him. The three of Gayaway were shocked and awe-stricken. Gayaway was very lucky that he did not say anything excessive when Qin Lang was hiding his strength. Then, do strange things. The 8th floor, the 9th floor, the 10th floor. Time passed, and after a few hours, the 4-person team arrived at the 10th floor. This is a level that no one has yet reached. Won't you go in with me? Why? Qin Lang looked at the 3 people with strange eyes. He didn't care at all about this kind of car riding behavior. As long as it didn't affect his personal interests, it would be fine. Gayaway smiled bitterly. Boskin, his name for Qin Lang, had already changed. It's not that we don't want to go in with you. I'm really sorry. We've used so many rewards in vain and haven't exerted any effort at all. Point of course, if you insist on taking us to the 10th floor, that's no problem. But you must promise us a piece. Qin Lang didn't understand. We are really about to pass the 10th floor. We must pay the entrance fee. Each of us will give 100 kilograms of hell crystal cores. If you don't accept it, we won't enter. Qin Lang was overjoyed. These days, more and more people are picky. Let's go. Qin Lang waved his hand. Tower of Evolution, level 10. The moment he was transported to this alien space, Qin Lang felt an extremely powerful aura. This is an indoor space, a bit like the inside of a Taoist temple. With his back to Qin Lang is a monk wearing a torn yellow shirt with 6 ring scars on his head. The guardian is actually a person, and he doesn't need to fight mobs to start the battle directly. Qin Lang was a little puzzled and motioned to Gayaway and the other 3 to hide as far away as possible. The guardian jumped up and turned around to face Qin Lang. Okay, I take back what I just said. I'm still a monster. Qin Lang silently held the giant sword across his chest. The monk in front of him only had human limbs. His face had no facial features, and he had 4 pairs of symmetrical eyes. His semi-naked chest had a big mouth full of fangs, and a wet tongue kept flicking out. Throw it away, Kaha. The monster monk made a roar of unknown meaning and rushed towards Qin Lang. Qin Lang concentrated on using his sword to resist. Both the strength and speed are very strong. He is evenly matched with me. No, in normal form, he is stronger than me. After more than 10 moves between the 2 sides, Qin Lang already felt the pressure, but instead of making him flinch, he became even more excited. Exclamation mark. After all, he was just warming up in the first 10 floors. Demon magic appearance, all things transformed into forms, power of elephant. Qin Lang, who transformed into 3 heads and 6 arms, wielded a giant sword condensed with black energy and launched a crazy counterattack. This scene directly shocked the 3 people in the far corner for a whole year. He didn't use all his strength in love at all. Too strong. Gao's eyes were a little drawn. But she also understood that it was impossible for a man as strong as Qin Lang to live without women, or even many women, around him in this precarious future. This is an existence that can only be looked up to. PFFT. The 2 sides fought for more than 10 minutes, which finally ended with Qin Lang pulling out the monster monk's tongue. The reward for the 10th level is actually an ability card. Qin Lang was a little surprised and immediately looked at Gayaway and the others. The 3 of them had also obtained ability cards, but the abilities of each card were different. What shocked Qin Lang the most was that what Gayaway received turned out to be a 2-star card. Expansion. consumes 1 potential slot, reduces the power of all skills by 30%, and increases 4 potential slots. To explain simply, Qin Lang now has 8 potential slots. After equipping expansion, the maximum potential slot becomes 12 slots. Since expansion itself needs to occupy 1 slot, it is equal to 3 more potential slots. But the power of all skills is reduced by 30%, which is a bit hurt to be honest. Zarawi, how about I buy it, or exchange it with you for another ability card? Qin Lang suddenly thought of a new way of matching, and decisively proposed a deal. Gao Zarawi didn't even think about it, lightly vigorously, and said, no need to change, I can get here all because of you, just give it to you if you want. After saying it, he handed the ability card directly to Qin Lang, which made Qin Lang a little embarrassed. I'll trade you 5 ability cards for 1 upgraded one. It should be more than enough. Qin Lang is now big owner, and he has dozens of ability cards to store space, which can never be used up. There are too many, just give me 3. Gao Zarawi waved her hands repeatedly. Okay, then you can choose. Qin Lang was not polite. He pulled out 10 ability cards and let Gao Zarawi choose. This scene once again deeply shocked the 3-person team. It's hard for others to get a card. How come you get to Qin Lang? The ability cards are just like the daily food on the roadside. When Gao Zarawi picks up the ability cards, Qin Lang also optimized his potential slot point previously. Qin Lang's potential tank construction was Blizzard, Lava Transformation, Frenzy, and Gathered Energy, which cost 8 over 8 of the potential slot point. The current Qin Lang potential slot construction is 1 by 1 Blizzard, Lava Transformation, Frenzy, Gathered Energy, Expansion, Increased Damage, to spend potential groove 12 over 12. Increased damage, passive skill, increase the power of all skills by 20%. Increased damage, passive skill, increase the power of all skills by 30%. In other words, the double damage increase of 50% offsets 30% of the expansion debuff, and Qin Lang redisappeared by 20% of all skills. Expansion is really a god card. Even though Qin Lang was calm, he couldn't help but feel it at this time. Let's go on. Qin Lang was so proud that he took the lead and rushed into the light pillar. After Gao Wei and the other 3 looked at each other, they also followed in extremely excitedly. At this time, the 4-person team headed by Qin Lang did not know that after they entered the 8th floor, the seemingly ordinary evolution tower lit up, and when they passed the 10th floor, a huge sky curtain appeared in the safe area. In the sky above, the 4 people headed by Qin Lang are in the picture. Damn it, what kind of god is this? He's reached the 11th level. I must be fucking dreaming. I just entered the tower yesterday and was fucked to death on the 3rd floor. Outrageous. This is so outrageous. Laoli and Zuyun had finished shopping long ago and were waiting for Qin Lang to come back on the Triumph. When they saw the picture in the sky, they looked at each other and walked towards the Tower of Evolution in tacit understanding. Boss Qin is going to become a celebrity now. That pair, it doesn't matter who is the boss. Leo, Lee and Yuren held their waists and laughed. Pointers that the monster on the 11th floor? Just looking at it like this makes me a little scared. Ding Yuan looked at the monster on the screen and tightened her collar tightly. Chapter 252. Stop at the 12th floor. The Tower of Evolution, 11th floor. Standing in front of the red light column was a 2-foot-tall insect creature, covered with a dark black shell, with 4 pairs of sickle-like claws stretched to the maximum extent, and every time it breathed, it would spit out a large amount of green gas from its mouth. This monster is extremely strong. Qin Lang rarely felt the fear of his own impending death from a monster, but the insect in front of him did give him such a feeling. Even if there was only a small mistake, he could die on the spot. Ah. Oh no, this air is poisonous. Ah. Brother Qin. Just when Qin Lang was still thinking about how to deal with the insect, Gao Wei, Zhu Lei, and Gao Zai's faces turned dark green, and then turned into countless grids, and disappeared on the spot. Yes. They died because they breathed a lot of poisonous air after only entering the 11th floor for less than a minute point. Although this death was just forced out of the Tower of Evolution, it still brought some psychological shock to Qin Lang, and he was a little puzzled. Why didn't he get poisoned? His localized skills did not resist poison gas Zigger. Before Qin Lang could think much, the insects had already waved sickle claws and attacked him, and dozens of slender hind legs moved at the same time, at a very fast speed. Should I leave my killer copper to break through the 12th floor, or quickly solve the monster in front of me, and get the reward? The answer to this question does not need to be thought about. If I can't even pass the 11th floor, what's the point of talking about the 12th floor? Qin Lang jumped up, and while dodging the slash, he took out a 20D multiplier with his right hand, and at the same time, a large group of cold air began to condense on the giant sword. Give me some strength. Qin Lang prayed in his heart, and Zeng took out the sword. Ding ding ding. Looking at the number given by the sword, Qin Lang coughed and smiled. Okay, only give one time. Is this the way to play? Even if I use twice as much power, I can still kill you. Qin Lang drank several bottles of enhancement potion in his spare time and yelled, die, ban, Z plus, potion, plus, energy concentration, plus, rage, plus, demon magic, plus, transformation of all things, plus blizzard. 5 or 6 enhancement effects are all condensed on the giant sword. A huge cyclone appeared under Qin Lang's feet, and the insect seemed to have noticed the horror of the opponent's move. It immediately gathered its horns, and hugged its head, and then dived most of its body into the ground, revealing only 1/3 of its entire body, which was also the strongest part. Once the bow is drawn, there is no turning back point. Whether the enemy can be killed depends on this strike. Die. There were no less than 100 people gathered around the Tower of Evolution Point. They were all attracted by the fierce battle in the giant screen, and the 3 Gayaway who were sent out by the poison also became the stars of the public. Many forces extended olive branches to them, hoping to teach them how to attack the Tower of Evolution Point. The 3 did not agree, but just stared at the giant screen, hoping that Qin Lang could win. Kakaka. Kakaka. The white blizzard occupied the screen point after a long time. Qin Lang appeared on the screen, and he pierced the insect's head with a giant sword. After all, he is the boss, so he is fierce. However, all the skills have been used on the 11th floor, and there is a high probability that the 12th floor will not be a good opportunity. Oldley made an evaluation. As one of the few people who are familiar with Qin Lang, Oldley is quite objective. However, with the boss's personality, he will definitely go to the 12th floor to have a look. Sure enough, as soon as Oldley finished speaking, Qin Lang picked up a certain object and walked into the passage of the 12th floor. Full armor gauntlet. I didn't expect that the reward for the 11th floor would be localized equipment. No, or hell equipment. Qin Lang muttered to himself. Full gauntlet. Active skill. Full defense. Greatly improves defense ability. Passive. Increases 1 potential slot point. Qin Lang didn't think twice and directly put another increased damage into the extra potential slot. 40% increase in damage is still very attractive. As the dazzling light disappeared, Qin Lang came to the 12th floor of the Evolution Tower. A figure walked out not far away. It was Qin Lang himself who was dragging the giant sword. Is this my mirror image? Qin Lang widened his eyes and looked at himself. The mirror image Qin Lang has the same appearance as Qin Lang, clothes, weapons, and even the expression on his face. The only difference is that it can't speak. I saw the mirror image. Qin Lang smiled evilly, rushed forward, and a white light flashed across the giant sword point, and then nothing else. Qin Lang appeared at the entrance of the Evolution Tower. Yes, he was killed by his own mirror image in seconds. People. Reasonable. Brother. Qin. Boss. Qin. Gayaway rushed over and said excitedly, although you were killed in 1 second, you are already very awesome. Qin Lang rolled his eyes silently. Can you just say the last few words, boss? Old Lian Zuyuna came over with a smile. Qin Lang was a little puzzled. Why did he have to break through the tower for several hours, and there were so many people around him? After he came out, Oldley explained to him, and he finally understood that his heroic figure in the Evolution Tower had been imprinted in everyone's mind. Only the 11th and 12th floors? That's good. Otherwise, if all my trump cards were seen, then there would be no point in playing. Qin Lang nodded. Boss, go to the side and rest for a while. Give me a few hours. Laoli pointed to the Tower of Evolution. Qin Lang understood what they meant and nodded. I wish you a triumphant return. Absolutely. Except for the robot Guiguazi. Everyone entered the Tower of Evolution one after another. The Tower of Evolution is destined to be very lively this night. There is a market here where you can buy ability cards. Take me to see it. Qin Lang said to Gao Wei. Gao Wei hurriedly said, no problem. Boss Qin is here to invite you. With Gao Wei leading the way, Qin Lang quickly found the exchange, where dozens of trading terminals were displayed. The only currency used by the terminals here was Hell Crystal Core. Oh, not only can you retrieve the ability cards you want to buy, but you can also sell them. The value of an ordinary ability card is 50 to 100 kilograms of Hell Crystal Cores, and the fluctuation is quite large. Qin Lang was full of interest and typed the word expansion in the search column. There were only 3 expansion cards in sight, each worth 120 kilograms, and they had not been upgraded. It is 20% more expensive than the highest priced ability card. Qin Lang took it without thinking. 360 pounds of Hell Crystal Core is nothing to him. If I can retrieve the ability card, can I retrieve the equipment? Qin Lang tried typing full armor, but the result was that there was no such thing. Obviously no one is stupid enough to sell hell equipment. By the way, Xiaoyi, didn't you say that you can also use Hell Crystal Cores to open potential slots here? Where is it? At the combat readiness terminal next door. Gao Xiaoyi pointed to the right side. Let's go and have a look. Chapter 253 Star Upgrade and Coercion. The appearance of the combat readiness terminal is very different from the trading terminal. It is a building similar to a security gate. You only need to pay a fixed Hell Crystal Core and walk into the security check to unlock the potential slot. After reading the usage instructions, Qin Lang frowned slightly. The combat readiness terminal can indeed help people open or increase the maximum limit of the potential slot, but the latter requires consuming far more Earth Crystal Cores than he imagined. Upgrading from 8 slots to 9 requires 5,000 kilograms of Earth Crystal Cores, and 9 slots require 5,000 pounds of Earth Crystal Cores. It would take 20,000 kilograms to upgrade the tank to 10 slots. Even though Qin Lang has a big family now, this number still makes him feel painful. It's better to find the altar and exchange it for the Morning Star. Morning Star can earn it by killing more Wiru, but Hell Core cannot be obtained at any time. Brother Qin, this is the Card Star promotion terminal. Gao Xiaoyi took Qin Lang to the row of terminals on the right, same as the combat readiness terminal. Consume Hell Crystal Cores to increase the ability Card Star level. Oh, by the way, there is also a big roulette wheel over there. 100 pounds of Hell Crystal Core can be used once. As for whether it can be transferred to any other place, it all depends on luck. But I think it's so hard to earn Hell Crystal Cores now that no one would engage in this thing. Qin Lang looked in the direction of Gao Xiaoyi's finger and suddenly couldn't help laughing. It really broadened my horizons. Qin Lang withdrew his light from the big roulette wheel and began to study the card star raising terminal with concentration. After understanding the rules of star raising, Qin Lang took down the hot card, expanded. According to the rules for upgrading ability cards, to upgrade from 0 star to 1 star, you need to spend 1000 kilograms of Earth Crystal Cores plus 2 random 0 star cards. To upgrade from 1 star to 2 stars, you need to spend 2000 kilograms of Hell Crystal Cores plus 4 random 1 star cards. To upgrade from 2 stars to 3 stars, you need to spend 5000 kilograms of Hell Crystal Cores plus 8 random 2 star cards. The higher you go, the more crystal cores you consume. So, if I want to expand from 2 stars to 3 stars, how many 0 star cards do I need? Qin Lang was a little confused because after all, mathematics was taught by the physical education teacher. 64. Pictures. Gao Xiaoyi stuck out her tongue. I was the math class representative in college. 64. Pictures? So many? Qin Lang's mouth twitched slightly. How many kilograms of Hell Crystal Cores are needed? Well, it needs 15,000 kilograms. Hiss. Qin Lang took a breath. This is really not that expensive. However, if it were just 64 0-star cards and 15,000 kilograms of Hell Crystal Cores, he could afford it now. After thinking for a moment, Qin Lang decided to upgrade the card to a star. Only by becoming stronger can you earn more hell crystal cores and ability cards. As the saying goes, one step is faster, each step is faster. In the eyes of people complaining in shock, Qin Lang stuffed the cards and boxes of hell crystal cores into the Star Rising terminal. Looking at this outrageous scene, everyone drooled. They worked hard and exhausted, and it was already good to have 3 to 5 kilograms of crystal cores. But this man was better, throwing 15,000 kilograms of crystal cores in without even blinking. People are really going to die when compared to others. The ancients never deceived me. Along with a burst of bright light, or 3-star expansion, appeared in Qin Lang's hand. There are actually 2 more potential slots. Qin Lang was full of joy. While equipping expansion, he had a new idea. If he gets 2 more 2-star expansion, then his potential isn't the slot just over 20? Qin Lang cast his light on the sky wheel. Forget it, Qin Lang shook his head. Even if he still has a kilogram of crystal cores in the warehouse, he is not willing to waste it on a game that depends entirely on luck. It's okay to get the expansion card, but if Fang Yi doesn't get it, it won't be a waste of the hard-won crystal core point. Bet on dogs, and end up with nothing. How beautiful it would be if all the ability cards could be upgraded to 3 stars when leaving the Hell Realm. Qin Lang suddenly felt motivated and walked to the combat readiness terminal. 15,000 was spent, and 25,000 naturally didn't matter. A few hours later, the blood moon was high. Everyone from the Tower of Evolution returned one after another. Laoli, Zhu Yun and Ding Yuan, the 3 core members of the team who had followed Qin Lang from the beginning, performed very well, and stumbled through the 10th floor. Fatty Han and the bride stopped at the 10th floor. What surprised Qin Lang was that Lao Ma also broke through the 9th floor with his powerful fire suppression. Apparently Qin Lang had underestimated his strength before. The only fly in the ointment is that Lao Li and the others did not draw the ability card to rise above the star level. Early the next morning, after breakfast, Qin Lang was about to take everyone out of the safe zone for hunting. Gao Xiaoyi stumbled over and knelt down crying, "Brother Qin, please help me." "Xiaoyi, what's wrong with you?" Qin Lang was shocked and quickly picked up Gao Xiaoyi and helped him up. "What happened? Please tell me slowly, and don't be anxious." My eldest brother was arrested." Gao Xiaoyi couldn't stop crying and told Qin Lang what happened. While crying, it turned out that just last night, the 3 of Gao Wei returned to their residences and met a friend who had hunted together. The man was named Deng Zai. Deng Zai told Gao Wei that he had discovered a hell crystal core outside the safe zone that could earn a large amount of hell crystals. "It's a great place, but it's a pity that one person can't deal with the monster there. Someone needs help." Since they had formed a team before, and the cooperation was quite tacit, Gao Wei went with Deng Zai without much thought. As a result, he was ambushed by 10 people not long after leaving the safe zone. Gao Wei and Zhu Lei were seriously injured and were killed. After taking control, he only let Gao Xiaoyi come back to deliver the message. If you want Gao Wei and Zhu Lei to come back alive, Qin Lang must lead his people to break into the Tower of Evolution. These dogs are competing. How shameless. Old Li was furious. Zhu Yun sighed and said, "Yesterday, the process of the boss breaking into the tower was broadcast live. It is normal for some people to have evil intentions, but I didn't expect them to do it so quickly. Brother Qinshan, please, save my brother." Gao Xiaoyi burst into tears, and Qin Lang comforted him. "Don't worry, I will definitely save them. You go and inform them, and let them come over." "Thank you, Brother Qin, I'll tell them right now." Gao Xiaoyi wiped away his tears randomly, and rushed out of the Triumph. Seeing Gao Xiaoyi running away, Qin Lang's voice dropped. "I hate being threatened. Lao Zhu. When I lead them to break into the tower, you try to find Gao Wei and Zhu Lei." Lao clenched his fists loudly. "Don't worry, it's absolutely fine to leave this matter to us. Let's see if I don't catch these bastards." It seemed like I had only waited 7 or 8 minutes. Gao Xiaoyi came over with a dozen men and women. The leading man said with a smile, "Boss Qin, I'm really sorry, we have no friendship with you, and we can't give hell crystal cores as reward, so we have no choice but to make this move. Aren't you afraid that when you get out of hell, I will seek revenge on you?" Qin Lang's attitude was very cold. The man said happily, afraid, how could I not be afraid? Didn't I say it? This is a helpless relationship, whether you hate it or resent it. I can't control that much. Well, you are quite a bachelor. I can take you to attack the tower, but only if you let me know that Gao Wei and Zhu Lei are still alive. Qin Lang didn't want to do it again. Chapter 254. The Lang Tower team is established. No problem. The man waved to his companion, who immediately took out a mobile phone-like communicator and opened it to reveal Gao Wei's face. He and Zhu Lei were trapped in a dark cave where the light was very dim. Boss. Qin. Gao Wei's face was full of bitterness. It's good to be alive. It's okay. I have promised them that I will take them to the tower. Qin Lang just said a few words and hung up the communication. If there are too many people, the difficulty will increase. Come 4x4. Understand, understand, understand. The man was overjoyed and found 3 companions who seemed to be the cadres of this small group. Let's go. Qin Lang raised his hand, glanced at Laoli, said nothing, and took the children to the Tower of Evolution. After everyone left, the bride turned and looked south. It's less than 50 kilometers away from us. Except for Qin Lang's team members, how could others know that the bride had inserted an ability card called radio tracking for herself, which, as the name suggests, can track radio wave signals in the atmosphere. More than 10 minutes later, a monster nest 50 kilometers away. The creatures that originally lived here had long been killed, and it became a secret base outside the city for a certain group. At this time, Gao Wei was drinking with Deng Zai. I didn't expect that kid to be so easy to deceive. Brother Gao is still capable. He fooled him with a few words. Deng Zai was full of smiles. Gao Wei smiled and said, he is strong. I can only say that he is lucky and picked up a good card point. The real strength is to make the strong work for me. Hahaha, what is being sold and used as a gun by others? Qin Lang is the most vivid example. Deng Zai picked up a piece of meat and stuffed it into his mouth. Rough outside and delicate inside. Brother, I admire you very much. Gao Wei raised his mouth slightly. I have to thank you for the 50 kilograms of Earth artifact crystal core I gave you. Haha. It should be point by the way. Gao Yuan, why didn't you tell Zhao Wei about this? Question mark. Fang Yi, she knew the truth. If you don't tell me, and I don't tell her, how can she know that all this is my arrangement? Gao Wei spread his palms. Old Deng, you must remember what you promised to find, and leave immediately once the matter is done. Don't worry, even if you don't remind me, I dare not stay here any longer. Several people were chatting. Deng Zai suddenly felt a chill on his back, and then saw his body being firmly held down by a pair of big hands. There were a total of 10 men in the nest, but none of them could move at this time. Gao Wei looked at the man who seemed to appear out of thin air in the cave, and said in disbelief, you. Qin Lang sneered, yes, it's me. Gao Wei, I treat you as a friend, and you treat me like this. Second. Gao Wei's forehead was covered with cold sweat, and he knelt down suddenly, slapping himself more than a dozen times. Old Qin, God, it's my fault! Exclamation mark. I shouldn't have used that 50 kilograms of Earth artifact crystal core to use you. I'm sorry for you. Facing Qin Lang and Laoli, who can easily get through the 9th and 10th floors, the people in the nest can't even think of resisting. Heh. Qin Lang laughed. You should apologize to me, boss. Qin. This plan was thought up by Gao Wei, and he also took 5 catas of Hell crystal core from me. Deng Zai quickly distanced himself from the relationship. It's not your turn to speak now. Shut up. Laoli raised his hand and slapped him. You say, should I kill you, or should I kill you? Qin Lang pressed his palm on Gao Wei's forehead. Gao Wei was so scared that he burst into tears. Boss Qin, I was wrong. Give me another chance. By the way, my sister likes you very much. I want her to be with you. Zhu Lei also begged for mercy. Boss Qin, brother Gao just came up with this idea because of a momentary obsession. It's not a crime punishable by death. Please forgive us. Sorry, Qin. Lang raised his mouth. I hate betrayal the most, boss. Qin. Puff. A ray of light pierced Gao Wei's head and Gao Wei died on the spot. Zhu Lei screamed and ran out of the nest. He was kicked over by Zhu Yun and then stepped on his neck. Gurgle. Deng Zai was so scared that his face turned pale. Qin Lang sat in front of him, raised his hand to signal Lao Li to let him go, and then smiled and said, "You seem to have a lot of subordinates. I can take you through the 10th floor of the evolution tower." Deng Zai exclaimed, and then reacted and said hurriedly, "Boskin, how much do you plan to charge? There is no such thing as a free lunch. I understand this principle. I only want the reward for the 10th floor. As for the rewards for the other floors, they are all yours, if you dare to say no." "Have you seen this body, old? Li is very bad." He cursed and poked Deng Zai's spine with the tip of the Thor spear. Agree. Agree. How can I not agree? Deng Zai thought, let alone the reward for the 10th floor. My life is in your hands. Even if you say you want to take it all, I dare not refuse. Okay. I hope the deal is successful. Qin Lang laughed and shook hands with Deng Zai vigorously. Deng Zai was sure that Qin Lang really wanted to cooperate with him. He was a little braver and said timidly, "Boskin, I have a question. Do you want to ask?" "I'm here." "Then who is the one who led your men to the tower?" "Yes." Deng Zai silently repeatedly. "That's my stand-in, and it also has abilities that exceed the 10th level." Qin Lang did not tell Deng Zai that the robot rushing the tower at this time was a robot Gui Guize number 1, but it was disguised as Qin Lang. Even the stand-in can pass the 10th floor. Deng Zai bowed deeply to Qin Lang. Within the safe zone. Looking at the two bodies that were already cold. Gao Zhao Leng was on the spot. "I killed both your brother and Zhu Lei." Qin Lang felt the need to explain. Why, Gao Zhao was disgusted. Deng Zai picked his teeth and said, "Zhao, in fact, your brother planned the whole thing. He took advantage of Boskin's friendship for his own personal gain. However, it should be said or not, this kid still has some conscience and did not involve his own sister. You blame me or hate me, I accept it." Qin Lang left after leaving these words. "Elder brother." Gao Zhao hugged Gao when his body and burst into tears. From that day on, no one has seen Gao Zhao again. As for where she went, no one knows. Maybe she died in a corner of hell and became a monster feast. At the same time, under the propaganda of Deng Zai, Qin Lang's Lying Tower team was officially established. What is Lying Tower? This means that, as long as Qin Lang and the others are there to guide you, you will be disabled, and they can take you to the 10th floor, even if you lie down, and the only thing you need to pay is the loot from the 10th floor of the Tower of Evolution. 3 days later, fuck. Lao Li collapsed on the bed as soon as he walked in. "Boss, I'm applying for leave. I'm so fucking exhausted. Leading 4 teams of people to attack the tower a day, each team for 4 hours. I really can't stand it." "What? You only work 16 hours? Qin Lang smiled and said, "The donkeys in the production team don't dare to rest like this. Starting from tomorrow, there will be 5 teams every day." Grass. Lao Li raised his middle finger angrily. Chapter 255. The arrival of the Five Tails. Arrives. Time flies, and half a month later a small hell crystal core mine that had just been looted. A dozen heavily armed men and women were cleaning the battlefield and collecting the loot. It's so damn enjoyable. Thousands of kilograms of crystal cores are enough for us to upgrade our ability cards to 1 star. That's necessary. The hell will be over in less than 10 days. Whether you can eat or drink spicy food outside depends entirely on the weather in the back. Lao Bei, have you got it done? It's done. All crystal cores and housings are installed. Let's go to the next stop. 10. People got into the vehicle and prepared to leave. The driver suddenly whispered, "What is that thing in front of you?" Everyone watched carefully and saw that in the distant sky, there were 5 balls of light, yellow, green, cyan, blue and purple, falling into the ground like 5 shooting stars. The yellow one fell not far in front of them, and there was a loud bang. "Go over and see what's going on," the leader of this team, a one-eyed dragon, said in a low voice. "Receive." The vehicle took off and flew towards the yellow ball, arriving at the scene not long after. "What is this? A gem?" In the middle of the large crater below, there was a ball of light less than 2 meters in diameter, which was constantly flashing. "It should be a very valuable thing. Laoshi, take a few people to see it," the one-eyed dragon ordered. "Okay, 5. Men fell from a high altitude and approached the light ball cautiously. "Boss, this thing is not an ordinary stone. It looks like a vehicle to me. There is glass on it. Old." She's voice came from the other end of the intercom. "Vehicle?" The one-eyed dragon frowned and suddenly had an ominous premonition and hurriedly said, "Come back." "Okay. Boss, I'm going to." "Aren't." "Boss, this is really a vehicle." The door opened and there was a bitch inside. "Damn it. Zizzy, Zizzy." The powerful sound of electric current almost sounded the ears of the Cyclops are stacked. Old 10. Old 10. What the hell are you talking about? What's wrong? The one-eyed dragon clung to the ground point inside the tunnel point. A creature about 78 times the size of a human was gently shaking its big furry tail, looking at Old 10 and the others expresslessly. Such a weak human race actually needs to dispatch our five-tailed action team. The five-tailed creature raised its lips slightly, murmured to himself, and looked at Dakang's vehicle point moment. One-eyed dragon feels like being trapped in a Shinigami town. Although he couldn't see the terrifying aura coming from him. "Let's go," the one-eyed dragon hurriedly ordered. However, at the same time he gave the order to retreat, the five-tailed creature jumped up, came to the top of the vehicle, and stepped hard with its long and powerful thighs. Boom. The huge flying vehicle hit the ground like a toy, and instantly burst into flames and exploded. Fuck. The one-eyed dragon and his party are very strong, so naturally they will not be hurt by this small explosion, but dizziness and dizziness are unavoidable. What the hell is that? The one-eyed dragon rolled and crawled out of the fire. He raised his head and saw the condescending woman and the five tails behind her. "Are you a tailed beast?" Five tails. The one-eyed dragon was so shocked that he couldn't speak. The five-tailed creature smiled slightly and stretched out her hand. She only had 4 fingers, and each one was very long. Puff. The right eye of the one-eyed dragon was penetrated by a finger, and the bloody finger stabbed out from the back of his head, with an eyeball stuck on it. Ah. Ah. The one-eyed dragon only had time to scream twice before he fell completely into endless darkness. Bo. Stuffing the eyeballs into his mouth, the five-tailed creature looked intoxicated and said, "Eyeballs. A big boost. The boss is dead. This tailed beast has 5 tails. Run, run." The human race is really noisy. The five-tailed creature was a little angry. In the next second, it brought out a burst of after images and pounced on the people who were fleeing. When she came back, there were more than 20 bloody eyeballs in her hands. Safe place, really? Is it that evil? Lee was drinking in the only tavern in the safe zone point at this time. Many people gathered in the tavern. Surrounded in the middle were 2 blind men. Their hands holding the wine glasses were trembling. "Boss Lee, it's really, I didn't lie to you. She really is. Wooey, she's really scary. I don't even have a chance to use my skills in front of her." So, five tails have arrived. This is a big deal. We need to inform the boss immediately and ask him to be careful. Lee quickly took out the communicator. Before he could dial the number, there was an exclamation from outside. "It's bad. Something bad is going to happen. They are attacking the safe area." "What the hell? Can the safe zone be attacked?" Lee's heart tightened and he rushed out. He saw a woman with 5 tails in the sky constantly attacking the safe zone that protected everyone. Every attack she made the huge safe zone barrier tremble. "Will you also be beaten in the safe area?" Lee Huron asked. There is naturally no answer to this question. What happened? Fuck, that's 5 tails. Zuyun and Liao Yuan had just led a team to finish coding the evolution tower, and when they came out they saw this outrageous scene. 5 tails. Huh. Fat Han rubbed his eyelids vigorously and said in a trembling voice, "Fuck, something big has happened. 5 tails are the most powerful existence in the tailed clan beast. The 6 tails above are the royal family. It is said that each 5-tailed beast is equivalent to a second stage awakener of humans." "Who asked you this?" Lee glared at him. "Why is a safe zone attacked?" The safe zone is actually composed of a barrier released by a special plant, which is immune to all attacks. But there is a premise. Fatty Han tried to control his emotions, but he couldn't do it. He cried, "This barrier is ineffective against second stage awakeners, and can be destroyed." Crack, 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 crack. Under the continuous bombardment of the five-tailed woman, the invisible barrier made a heart-wrenching sound, just like the sound of a glass about to break. Everyone's heart was in their throat. If this five-tailed beast really has the strength of a second-stage awakener as Fatty Han described, then all of them here will never be her opponent. Even if they work together, the level difference is too big. Suddenly, the five-tailed woman stopped attacking the barrier and looked at the convoy coming not far away. That seems to be Deng Zai's convoy. As soon as Laoli confirmed the ownership of the convoy, the five-tailed woman punched the roof of the car, smashing the people and the car into a pulp. Laoli, hurry, quickly contact the boss. Zhu Yun is such a calm person, but now he also showed a fearful expression. Chapter 256, Clearing the 12th Floor. I tried, but I can't contact you. I should be in the Tower of Evolution at this time. Laoli looked at the tall tower not far away. Perhaps due to the continuous attack of the five-tailed girl, a sky-wide crack appeared on the outer layer of the Evolution Tower. Let's run away. The barrier can't last long. Fatty Han's legs were so frightened that they became weak. Where to escape? The bride glanced at him and pointed in the direction. There are not a few people who have the same idea as them, and many people have even taken action. They naively thought that they could escape the attack of the five-tailed girl by spreading out and running for their lives. However, they did not expect that the five-tailed girl discovered those who rushed out of the safe zone. After escaping the vehicle, he chose to give up attacking the barrier and caught up with the fleeing vehicles at extremely fast speeds, smashing them to death along with the people and vehicles. Only then did people realize that the five-tailed girl attacked the barrier just to make the safe zone disappear and then kill everyone here. Boss, you should come out quickly. There were large beads of sweat on Laoli's forehead. At the same time. The 11th floor of the Tower of Evolution. Qin Lang sat cross-legged, and in front of him lay a poisonous zerg that had long since expired. It was the guardian of the 11th floor. In the past half-month, Qin Lang has come to the Tower of Evolution almost every day or two, just to match the perfect ability to attack the 12th floor mirror. After learning about Qin Lang's idea, many people said that Qin Lang was talking nonsense, but Qin Lang just laughed it off. It is indeed quite difficult to conquer the 12th floor mirror, but it is not completely impossible! As long as you can figure out the mirror's attack patterns and find a way to crack it, you can kill it. This seemingly absurd cracking method came from Fatty Han accidentally discovering that Fatty Han and Qin Lang had been playing computer games while keeping interest. He found that the final boss in it was tossing and turning with the same movement, so he came up with the solution to the backboard. What is a backplane? To put it simply, by repeatedly observing the opponent's movements, you can firmly memorize the opponent's attack patterns and skills, carry out the optimal solution, or dodge, defend, or hard hit, and then find an opening to deliver a fatal blow. After repeated experiments, Qin Lang is getting closer and closer to success. Now he can fight the mirror fire with white moves before being killed. Gudu, gudu. After drinking the remaining bottle of potion, Qin Lang calmed down, cleared all distracting thoughts from his mind, and stepped into the 12th floor. Challenge the mirror image for the last time. We must succeed. Qin Lang took a deep breath. He had already decided that, if he lost again this time, he would give up. After all, there was not much time left, and he could not spend all his energy on it. Strategy mirror as usual. The mirror slowly turned around. After spotting the challenger, the mirror image held a huge sword and turned into a stream of light. To practice fiercely, Qin Lang jumped up. He had already formed muscle memory. When he landed, he swung a sword. He blocked the second attack of the mirror image. At the same time, the safe zone, it's cracked. The barrier has cracked and opened. What to do? Can't escape. You can't win even if you fight. People desperately discovered that cracks appeared in the barrier that was under continuous attack. This means that the barrier is no longer strong and may collapse at any time. Damn it. Come here if you want to live. No matter how strong she is only one person. There are hundreds of us. If we can't kill her, if we join forces, why can't we stop her? Laoli felt that he needed to stand up, and he roared wildly. It has to be said that as the main member of the Lying Tower team, he has a very strong appeal. These words are like a shot in the arm, causing the people scattered around to gather together quickly. Among them, there are not only Easterners, but also many survivors from other countries. Bosley is right. With so many of us joining forces, even if we can't kill her, we can still hold on for a long time. As long as we hold on until Mr. Qin comes back, we can survive. Qin Lang. This name has long been a legend in the safe zone. Not only was he the first strongman to reach the 12th floor, but he was also the founder of the Lang Tower team. He was also a pervert who would find the mirror image of the 12th floor to fight with each other every day or two. Each time he was closer to victory than the last time. Exclamation mark. Yes, I just informed the boss that he is rushing back. Just hold on and wait for him to come back. Zhu Yun screamed loudly. The panic was reduced a lot under the call of Leoli and others. People gathered together and showed off their weapons. Good boy, can you calculate our winning rate? Hey, pretend I didn't say it. Don't forget it. Fatty Han slapped his big face hard. He was afraid that the result would not be what he wanted to see. At this level, people finally have a deeper understanding of what it means to live like a year. They watched helplessly as the barrier was being broken down bit by bit, and they were helpless to do anything about it. Finally, after more than 10 minutes, the rules that protected everyone from any infringement disappeared with the collapse of the barrier. The five-tailed girl looked down at the humans on the ground with sarcastic eyes, gathering together, isn't it? And? The five-tailed girl opened her right hand, condensed a gorgeous and somewhat strange bloody long sword, and silently charged towards the crowd. Brothers, let's fight. Leoli roared and smashed out the Thunder God's spear. Zhu Yun and Ying Yuan both transformed. The others no longer held back at this critical moment of life and death. They all used their ability to press against the bottom of the box, and for a while, colorful lights flashed together. He moved toward the five-tailed girl. 12th floor. Qin Lang took several steps back and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his left hand. He didn't use his right hand because his right hand had been cut off and a new arm was growing. In contrast, the mirror image was also seriously injured and the blood had already stained his clothes red. Ming, the mirror image swung a sword in the air and a circle of ice ripples suddenly appeared under him feet. Qin Lang jumped high and slashed out several sword ki while avoiding the ice ripples. The mirror image was casual, swung the sword to disperse all the sword ki, and rushed to Qin Lang, using light slash expressionlessly. You fell into the trap. I'm behind you. The mirror image's pupils suddenly condensed, but it was too late to turn around at this time. The sword ki that gathered all its strength was like a meteor passing by, directly piercing the mirror image's chest. Pa. Blood was still flowing from the wound. The mirror image still looked at Qin Lang expresslessly, then slowly fell down, turning into countless fragments and pouring into Qin Lang's body, nourishing and strengthening every cell. Unprecedented power sprouted in Qin Lang's body, and even the bud of the world tree, hanging around his neck, which Qin Lang used as a necklace, conveyed an extremely happy emotion. Under the blessing of this power, my overall strength has increased by more than doubled. Qin Lang laughed wildly. He was happy, not only because of the improvement in strength, but also the most important point. The mirror image passed on to him a lot of knowledge related to the path, which could not be bought with money, and was a priceless treasure. 12 levels. Cleared. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257, No Time to Grieve. Qin Lang left the Tower of Evolution with joy. As the white light in front of his eyes dissipated, Qin Lang's pupils suddenly condensed, and he rubbed his eyelids in disbelief. What is this place? After clearing the level, where did the Tower of Evolution send him? What comes into view is a battlefield. Apparently a war had just broken out here. Houses were everywhere in the ruins. Qin Lang couldn't find even a complete house after scanning. Why does this place look so much like a safe zone? Qin Lang raised his eyes, and the more he looked at it, the more something was wrong. Goo. A sound came from under the ruins not far away. Qin Lang lifted up the thick stone slab and dug out the man hidden in it. He said in surprise, "It's you." This man was wearing an apricot yellow Taoist robe dyed red with blood. He was the Taoist priest who sold him the buds of the world tree. The Taoist priest was severely injured. As soon as he took a breath, he grabbed Qin Lang's collar with all his strength and vomited blood while saying, Boss Qin, why didn't you come out earlier? Stop talking first and drink the medicine." Qin Lang quickly poured the Hushan potion into the Taoist priest's mouth, barely saving his life. After resting for a while, the Taoist priest's complexion improved a lot. The manager had the strength to speak. He coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood and said, "Five Tails destroyed the barrier and launched an attack on us. She is too strong. We're not a rival at all." "You mean, this is a safe zone?" Qin Lang stared in his heart. "Where are Laoli and the others?" "Boss Li is dead." "Nonsense," Qin Lang said dumbly. "Old Li is very strong. How can he die so easily?" "It is true." The Taoist priest's eyes were wet. He wiped the corners of his eyes and pointed in a direction. In order to cover the escape of others, he was killed in a duel with the five-tailed girl. Their point. Qin Lang walked silently in the direction of the Taoist priest's finger. After walking around a large area of ruins, he saw Laoli. Laoli stood there, motionless, like a stone sculpture. "Old Li, you scared me to death. Are you okay?" "You." Qin Lang reached out and patted Laoli on the shoulder, but there was no reaction. Qin Lang took a deep breath and came to the front. Laoli was covered in blood and had already died. His eyeballs were gouged out, leaving only 2 black eye sockets. The blood on his face was black. Qin Lang was so sad that he looked up to the sky and screamed, "Old Li, boss Qin." The Taoist priest turned to Qin Lang and said, "Brother Zhu and the others ran south, and the five-tailed girl chased them. The saddest thing in the world is that there is no time to be sad." Qin Lang resisted his inner urge to put Laoli's body into the storage space and chased south without saying a word. People along the way, Qin Lang found many houses with missing eyeballs. Fortunately, there was no Zhu Yun and others inside. Qian Fang, don't let anything happen," Qin Lang murmured to himself. 10 minutes later, Qin Lang discovered the disintegrated Triumph. The vehicle had been chopped vertically from the middle, and the gap was as smooth as a mirror. There were 2 bodies in the car. One was Lao Mao, and the other was unknown to Qin language. Boom. A loud noise came from not far away. Qin Lang turned into a stream of light and flew over without thinking. Ugh. Zhu Yun lay on the ground and vomited blood crazily. Yu Gangyuan was seriously injured and lost her fighting ability. She was lying on a wasteland, looking at her sweetheart with worried eyes. Fatty Han, Gui Guizi, the bride and several other people who escaped with the Triumph were all seriously injured. The five-tailed girl swung her furry tail and approached Zhu Yun step by step, with a sneer on her lips. "No matter how strong an insect is, it's still just an insect. My boss won't let you go." Zhu Yun's face turned pale. The five-tailed girl smiled and said, "When I kill you, I will go back to find your so-called boss. Do you have any last words?" "Go to hell." Zhu Yun pushed up the broken glasses on the bridge of his nose. Boom. The five-tailed girl raised her kick and kicked Zhu Yun's head off, then turned to Ding Yuan, who screamed, "You should be his spouse. Since you are so sad, then die with him." The five-tailed woman's arm shook, and the bloody long knife cut off Ding Yuan's neck in the next second. The five-tailed girl was about to kill the last few human bugs when she suddenly turned her head and looked to the north, seeing a beam of light flying towards her. "This aura is a bit strong." The aura is a bit strong. Five-tailed girl licked her lips as if she had discovered something interesting. Boom. The beam of light stopped. Qin Lang landed steadily, and when the light swept away, he felt desolate in his heart. After discovering the bodies of Zhu Yun and Yu Yuan. Hurry and hurry, it's still too late. "Got Qin." Fatty Han cried with joy. "You're finally here." Qin Lang looked at the five-tailed girl in front of him and patted his face. The reason why he did this was to force himself to wake up and prevent his anger and sadness from affecting the next battle. It is undeniable that this creature that looks like a human but not a human is a very powerful, terrifying existence. According to Qin Lang's previous character, he ran away immediately, but now he has no idea of escape. Humans, you have to get passionate every once in a while, you say, right? Qin Lang suddenly smiled, as if he saw Laoli giving a thumbs up and saying, boss, there is nothing wrong with what you said. This is how it should be. Fight. It's fun. Don't overestimate your own capabilities. The five-tailed girl laughed, swung her sword and slashed away. Qin Lang stepped forward and faced him head on. Keng. Keng. Fire is flying! Exclamation mark. The two fought from the ground to the sky, and then from the sky back to the ground. Each fight was more powerful than the last. Qin Lang had no expression on his face, ignoring the bloody palm, and launched attacks continuously in silence. He clearly hasn't entered the second stage, so why can he fight me back and forth? The five-tailed girl's expression changed from disdain at the beginning, to solemnity, and finally to disbelief. She doesn't understand. The level difference between the two sides is huge. She should crush him like she crushes everyone else. Why? I'm going to get serious. Let you see the strength of the five-tailed special forces. The five-tailed girl roared angrily, and more than a dozen round eyeballs appeared on the bloody sword. Suddenly, a powerful mental attack hit Qin Lang like a tide. This is the noble phantasm of the five-tailed girl, the eyeball knife. She rarely shows off her eyeball knife ability in front of others. Psychic attack. Qin Lang's brain was in severe pain, as if he was being stabbed crazily by countless sharp knives. However, this intense discomfort only lasted for less than a few seconds before disappearing. The bride's weak voice came to her ears. There is very little I can do, but if it is to resist mental attacks, that's my strength. Boskin. The tail beast's only weakness is its tail. Fatty Han screamed. Go to hell. The five-tailed girl took advantage of Qin Lang being affected by the eyeball knife, stepped forward and slashed horizontally. Qin Lang was about to be split into two, but at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Qin Lang, who was full of pain a second ago, now showed a twisted smile. It's you who deserve to die. What? You weren't affected by the eyeball knife? Oops. Oops. The five-tailed girl was shocked, and hurriedly backed away, but ignored the shadow behind her. Chapter 258 The World Tree and Her. This shadow is none other than the robot, that does not have much sense of presence in the team, and is easily ignored. Guaguaze number 1. Guaguaze stretched his body in a very weird posture, and immediately held the five-tailed girl tightly from behind with his hands and head like a crab. Not good. The five-tailed girl was horrified. At the same time, Qin Lang stabbed her chest with a giant sword in both hands. Puff. The giant sword penetrated the chest of the five-tailed girl, and even the boy was pierced, and a large amount of blood spurted out. Vomit. The five-tailed girl spit out a mouthful of blood. You. Give. Me. Go. Die. After squeezing out these words containing extreme anger from the gap between his teeth, Qin Lang twisted his arms, and the giant sword instantly smashed the five-tailed girl's internal organs. However, the five-tailed girl did not die. Her internal organs and wounds are recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Exclamation mark. Let you fucking kill my people. Qin Lang stepped on the five-tailed girl's head, raised his sword, and cut off all five tails. Ah. The five-tailed girl let out a scream, and her body quickly withered like a deflated ball, turning into a pile of white bones in an instant. Qin Lang's body shook, and he barely supported his body by looking at the giant sword with both hands. For some reason, his mind went blank, and he didn't even have the strength to move his little finger at this moment. Boskin. Fatty Han stumbled to Qin Lang's side. You win. You avenged Li Laochen and the others. Qin Lang fell suddenly, and his remaining consciousness seemed to be dragged into the black hole by an invisible hand. Soon, Qin Lang's completely lost consciousness woke up. Fuck, boss, you're finally awake. You scared me to death. Before quietly opening his eyes, Qin Lang heard the all too familiar voice beside his ears. Qin Lang sat up, looked at the bald head, and said in shock, "Old Li, aren't you dead?" Laoli was dumbfounded. Damn, did you make a mistake? You cursed me as soon as you woke up. Qin Lang was a little confused, looking around at the green mountains, green waters, flowers, and butterflies. He felt as if he was dreaming. What is this place? You don't know where this is, Zhu. Yun shook his head and said, I thought you brought us in. Lao Zhu, Ding Yuan. Qin Lang pressed his temples hard and tried to recall everything that happened before. If he remembered correctly, he should have just killed the five-tailed girl and then fell into a coma. But why come to this place? Just as he was thinking about it, the bodies of the three people around him, Laoli, suddenly frozen, became motionless. At the same time, a childish voice sounded in his mind, and he couldn't tell the difference between male and female. This is inside the bud of the world tree. The three of them should be very important people to you, otherwise you would not have entered the realm of selflessness. You are. Just call me Xiaoshu. The young voice groaned. Xiaoshu. Okay. Did you save Laoli and the others? No. From a human perspective, they are indeed dead, and all you see is their soul. The buds of the world tree can foster human souls. If I want to resurrect him, it is far from possible with my current ability. A small fuzzy shadow appeared in the light. As long as you keep giving me nutrients and nurturing me, I promise you that when I become the real world tree, I can help you resurrect them in the true sense. Really, Qin Lang's eyes widened, and he ignited hope. I never lie. Okay, great. But what's going on with them now? Qin Lang pointed at the three designated people. The time inside the world tree is constant. I will answer this question for you later. Xiaoshu said, people and souls cannot be separated for too long. It's time for you to get out now. Wait. Then what should I do to communicate with you in the future? As soon as Qin Lang finished shouting these words, everything in front of him disappeared. When he opened his eyes again, he saw Fatty Han's big face. He cried with snot and tears, Boskin, you are finally awake. How long have I slept? Qin Lang patted his forehead. His mind was still a little empty, and it was difficult to concentrate. 7 days and 7 nights. What? I slept for so long? Qin Lang was shocked. In his personal feeling, he just opened his eyes and closed them. Sleep? Fatty Han was about to cry, but had no tears. How can anyone sleep without breathing? Do you know, how many times have you died in these 7 days and 7 nights? 13 times. Every time you use return to heaven, it took me all the medicine to save you. It's a good thing that you don't need to rest. Qin Lang moved away from the light and saw the cute boy on the bedside. It only had a head and a mechanical arm used to feed medicine. A smiling face appeared on the electronic screen, and the subtitles flashed. Welcome to Wake Up, Master. Qin Lang remembered. In order to kill the five-tailed girl, he did not hesitate to destroy Guagwe's body. I will try to find a better body for you. Qin Lang raised his hand and touched Guagwe's head. What's going on outside now? Qin Lang checked his body and found that he was very weak. It was impossible for him to fight again, let alone fight against the five-tailed beast. Even a three-tailed one would make him cold. It's already chaos outside, and the fighting is fierce. Did you know that there are 5 five-tails descending into hell this time, and the five-tailed girl you killed is the weakest among them? Fatty Han had a creepy expression on his face. Where is this? This is underground. I dug it out with my own hands. It is about 300 to 500 meters deep. He will definitely not be able to find us here. Fatty Han wiped the juice from his forehead and said, I spent a lot of hell crystal cores to buy earth digging tools. Qin Lang smiled and patted his shoulder. I know, I will reimburse you now. In 5 days, this hell will end. My suggestion is to stay here to recuperate. The bride came to the bedside and said, if we are found out, we will die. Well, Qin Lang's eyes cleared. He lay back down again and murmured, even if you let me go out now, I won't go out. I am too tired. Well, Fatty Han hesitated and said, I brought the bodies of Boss Zhu and Ding Yuan. Would you like to find a place to deal with, mister? Let's talk about it after we get out. Qin Lang felt a little depressed. Fatty Han saw this and stopped talking. He stepped aside honestly and reached out to dig out something in his huge backpack. Not long after, a scroll appeared, and he unfolded the scroll. Fatty Han's eyes widened and he said, damn, no way, who is like this? Meng actually killed another five-tailed one. What? Purchasing information about the Crusaders costs 5,000 kilograms of hell crystal cores. Why the hell don't you just grab it? Can this kind of information be purchased? Qin Lang said lazily. Yes, but the price will be different depending on the importance of the information. I'll reimburse you. Buy it and have a look. Once you know who it is, you can avoid it. If you encounter it, Qin Lang threw a box of hell crystal cores to Fatty Han, weighing 2 kilograms. Okay, with a smile on his face, Fatty Han took out the second information scroll and said, "Oh, the one who killed the second five-tailed one was a girl named Feng Xiaoni." Chapter 259. 2 months later, Xian. Qin Lang jumped up from the bed, his eyes widened. "Who are you talking about? Say it again." Fatty Han was startled. Feng Xiaoni, what's wrong?" Qin Lang rushed over and snatched the scroll from Fatty Han's hand. There were indeed 3 words clearly written on it, Feng Xiaoni. Qin Lang's head rang with a mixture of emotions. Although he has not told anyone about Feng Xiaoni in the past year, this does not mean that he has forgotten the love of his previous life. In fact, he never forgot to look for Feng Xiaoni. But Qin Lang doesn't understand. Why did Feng Xiaoni appear in the realm of hell and have the ability to kill Wu Wei? Is it the same name? Qin Lang didn't think there would be such a coincidence. Can you buy the coordinates of Feng Xiaoni's current location? Qin Lang looked at Fatty Han. Fatty Han groaned, lowered his head to fumble around in his bag, and after a moment he shook his head in disappointment. "I'm not level enough to buy that kind of information." Fatty Han's exchange merchant route may seem like a bug, but in fact it has many major flaws. The first is that the resources required to purchase information are huge. The more secret the information, the more expensive it is. The second is that Fatty Han's level of access is directly proportional to the information that can be purchased. The higher his level, the more information he can purchase. The better, the more comprehensive the content. On the contrary, the current situation will occur. I spent £5,000 of hell crystal cores and only got a name. I don't even know whether the other party is a boy or a girl. Boss Qin, do you know this Feng Xiaoni? Qin Lang hummed and sat beside the bed in a daze. He wanted to find Feng Xiaoni, but due to his current physical condition, he would definitely die if the remaining 3 Wu Wei discovered him. But if you miss this opportunity and want to meet again, God knows how long it will take. But since Mizzy is so strong, she even killed the 5 tails. We will definitely be able to meet again one day. After weighing the pros and cons, Qin Lang finally decided to continue to promise to recuperate and must not be impulsive. In the next few days, Qin Lang and others stayed at home and stayed in bed until the month-long hell was completely over. After being teleported out of the realm of hell, Qin Lang looked at Fatty Han, the bride and the little boy who was so damaged that only one head was left behind him. He felt extremely disappointed. "The banquet is over. I'm going back to the town first. Welcome you all. Come to my town anytime." The bride smiled at Qin Lang and said, "By the way, my real name is actually Kaolu, but no one has called me that for a long time. We will definitely meet again." Qin Lang was not a pretentious person. He just nodded slightly and sent Kaolu away. After bidding farewell to Kaolu, Qin Lang and Fatty Han returned to the abyss. After learning that Lioli, Zhu Yun, and Ying Yuan were killed in the battle, Lin Weina burst into tears. After being together for so long, she had already regarded Lioli and the others as her own brothers and sisters, which made her not sad. Qin Lang had no comfort in this and let her vent. After spending a few days with Lin Weina, Li Guoguo and the Zhao sisters on the 6th floor of the abyss and arranging some trivial matters, Qin Lang came to the 8th floor of the abyss, where Li Jianshi and his daughter had lived for a long time, and collected the materials. After the Hell Crystal Core and a large number of tailed beast armors were handed over to the Li family for research, Qin Lang entered the 10th level of the abyss alone. 2 months later, the final layer of the abyss. Countless burly demons rushed out of the magma and headed towards the human on the high slope. For this human, the demons hated him to the core! In just over a month, countless companions died in his hands, and their bodies were piled up like a mountain. He even killed 3 of the extremely powerful 6-winged demons. Kill him. The one-horned demon with 4 pairs of fleshy wings growing out of its back let out an angry roar, and more demons crawled out of the magma, and they gathered into a torrent, crushing the man. The man had no expression on his face. He looked at the giant sword with one hand, and looked at the demons with cold eyes. When the demons came close, the man raised his arms and waved. The half-moon arc of light was like a sickle cutting through the wheat field. Hundreds of demons died on the spot. Life, roar. The 8-winged demon roared angrily, picked up the trident, and fought fiercely with the man point. However, after only more than 30 moves, the 8-winged demon was killed. The man did not even look at the pile of cards that exploded and put them into the storage space point. Seeing this, the other demons chose to flee and retreat under the lava point. This man is Qin Lang, who entered deep leveling alone point since he left the realm of Earth and returned to the abyss 2 months ago. Qin Lang has discovered that the Morning Star he previously captured in the realm of hell cannot be directly upgraded, but needs to be slowly digested, little by little, and the fastest way to digest it is, naturally, it is a battle point. After 2 months of almost sleepless killing, he finally digested all the morning stars in this level. At this time, his level has reached 3 eternal suns and 3 sacred moons, and he is only missing the last 4 morning stars. Can enter the second stage of awakening. Before entering the second stage, there are still many things that need to be done. Where should we start? Qin Lang murmured to himself. According to the knowledge imparted to him by the mirror, after passing the level Tower of Evolution, Qin Lang learned that air control is different from other paths and has perfect second stage. To reach the perfect second stage, he must find all 5 cards, namely, Mining Area Liberation card, Grassland Liberation card, Ocean Liberation card, Lava Liberation card, Desert Liberation card, and these 5 liberation cards must all be N2, neither higher nor lower will do. Point in other words, Qin Lang has an N2 grassland tribe in his hand, and he still lacks the other 4 liberation cards, corresponding to the 5 element of gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. Point troublesome, but reasonable. The Mine Area Liberation card. Well, I know where to go. Point Qin Lang unfolded the map and circled an area with a red pen. Point it was once the largest ore producing area in China, Xi'an City. Point 10 jeeps were driving wildly on the ruins. A man wearing sunglasses sat in the leading red jeep. He laughed and hugged a girl who looked only 18 or 19 years old in his arms. The girl's eyes were full of tears. Yuan Yang was very happy. Master. 2. I beg you, I will never run away again. Let my brother go. Hang Tu laughed. If you do something wrong, you will be punished. You took advantage of my trust in you and tried to escape. If I don't punish you, how can I manage the shelter in the future? Brothers, do you think I'm right? That's right. If you make a mistake, you must admit it. If you are beaten, you must stand at attention. Master 2 trusts you so much, and you dare to betray him. You should be punished. A group of armed brothers started to shout wildly. Point he. Han 2 raised his right arm high, raised his thumb, and then pointed his thumb downward. No, don't. The girl screamed. A man in a jeep at the back pushed a barefoot boy with his hands tied with ropes off the speeding car and laughed. Master 2 is not a cruel person. As long as you can finish these 10 kilometers and survive, I will spare your life. Speed up, speed up, speed up. Hang Tu laughed. Go 180 miles per hour for me. Roar, roar, roar. Everyone laughed wildly. Chapter 260 Retro N2. The sharp stones scattered on the ground were like daggers inserted upside down, instantly cutting the barefoot boy's body with blood. The boy let out a shrill scream, but this scream only brought intensified laughter. Because the boy had learned healing on the card, the wounds caused by the dragging were constantly cut and healed on their own. This was an unimaginable torture. Just as everyone was having fun with this, a young man walked out of the ruins in front. His expression was a little playful. Just kill people. How about torturing him like this? The convoy stopped. Han Tu looked at the stranger curiously. He winked at his subordinate, who immediately put on the combat power detector. After dripping it for a moment, he smiled and said, "Boss, the detector does not display numbers, just an ordinary person." Oh, ordinary people. Han Tu was happy. These days, ordinary people are rarer than powerful men like them with tens of thousands of combat power. It is not an exaggeration to say that they are giant pandas. After all, it has been nearly 2 years since the end of the world. It is difficult to imagine how these ordinary people have survived until now. Han Tu lit the cigarette and took a long puff. Boy, are you teaching me how to do things? He is a member of my shelter, so he must listen to me. If he doesn't, he will be punished. Can you take care of it?" The man was none other than Qin Lang, who came to Ziyuan to look for the mining area liberation card. Hearing the screams from the young man, he came over to take a look. Qin Lang was happy. "That's true, but your men's screams disturbed me and made me very unhappy. Plus, the men who were traveling with Han Tu jumped out of the car after seeing the horsepower, put their palms on Qin Lang's neck and cursed. 'Who the hell are you with?' Question mark. You don't know me, Master 2, do you? Hey, you got it right. I really don't know him." Qin Lang spread his hands. "I just arrived in Ziyuan this morning. Is your butcher the strongest in Ziyuan? Then he must have some information, right? I want to know about it." "Master 2, this guy seems to be mentally retarded. He doesn't even talk to anyone." Han Tu exhaled a puff of smoke. "What are you doing in Ziyuan?" "I'm looking for the original creature of Ziyuan. According to the information Qin Lang has learned before, only 10 source creatures can be obtained to obtain the region liberation card. He does have a treasure hunting compass, but the compass range is too small." "What is a source creature?" Han Tu frowned. Sure, he had never heard of this thing before. "Don't you know?" Qin Lang shrugged indifferently and took 2 fingers to open the sword on his shoulder. "Forget it. I'll go find someone else to ask." "Fuck." Han Tu's men scolded. "You are so damn good at pretending. Who told you to touch my knife?" "Ah, noise." Qin Lang's eyes cleared up, and the 27-year-old man suddenly trembled all over and fell into a severe coma. Han Tu was stunned for a moment. Aaron. What the hell did you do to Aaron?" "It's nothing. I just thought he was too noisy, so I asked him to have a dream. He will probably wake up tomorrow." Qin Lang thought seriously, "But there is a high probability that he will become a vegetative state." "Good boy, you turn out to be a master. Come on." Dozens of men and women with loaded guns poured out from behind, all pointing their guns at Qin Lang. Han Tu shouted, "Wake up Aaron immediately, otherwise I will beat you into a hornet's nest." Qin Lang rubbed the tip of his nose and was about to take action when he suddenly heard a strange sound in his ears. He looked in the direction of the source of the sound and saw a dozen figures rushing out from the other side of the ruins, using the ruins as a cover to shoot directly. Han Tu and his party were caught off guard. In an instant, 7 or 8 people were furious. The rest hurriedly hid behind the car and fought back. On the contrary, Qin Lang became the most leisurely person in the field. N2 are still using firearms now, and they are still the most backward firearms. Qin Lang really didn't know how to complain. Damn it! Exclamation mark. "Who are you? Even I, Han Tu, dare to mess with you." As the boss of the shelter, Han Tu naturally had real skills. His body suddenly expanded a bit, and his steel-like muscles bounced away all the incoming bullets. Seeing this, the morale of the rest of the people rose sharply, and they shouted to see if Han Tu would launch a counterattack. Although there were many people in the sneak attack, their overall strength was too poor to break through Han Tu's defense. When they saw Han Tu rushing towards them, the man in camouflage uniform lowered his voice and said, "We can't stop fighting. Let's go." "Brother, what about him?" A woman in camouflage clothes with a single ponytail looked at him and pointed at Qin Language. "He is just a fool. I don't know what he is doing standing there. He doesn't even know how to run for his life. Leave him alone and go." "Hey, over there." The woman with a single ponytail yelled, "Run quickly, stand there and wait to die." Qin Lang pointed at himself, said "Oh," and ran away. After running for a few steps, he thought of something, so he turned back and rescued the crying Anzi and the scarred young man from the car, watching them disappear at the end of the road. Han Tu was dumbfounded. No, it's because he was dazzled or something. Wasn't that kid shot? How could he still run so fast? "Boss, this kid has something. I estimate his combat effectiveness is quite high, at least 30,000. Otherwise, our guns would not be effective against him." 3-party fighting force. Consider him lucky. Han Tu's eyes flashed. A large supermarket in an abandoned city corner. Gao Yangmi raised his eyes and looked at Qin Lang, then laughed suddenly. "I really don't know whether you should be called a fool or an idiot. It was so dangerous just now. You could just run away by yourself. Why did you bring 2 people with you? They are quite pitiful. I will save them if I can. Qin Lang pointed at the siblings who had been in a state of hatred. You are really interesting, Gayo. You, a single ponytail, patted Qin Lang's shoulder manly. No matter who you are, or where you come from, as long as you are against that bastard Han too, you are our friend. Let me meet you. My name is Gayo Yu, and this is my dear god brother. Gayo Yang is also the god of Abahu Institute. Oh. My name is Qin Language. Qin Lang nodded. It's strange why the combat power detector can't detect how much combat power you have. Gayo Yang knocked on the detector, thinking it was broken. Maybe it has something to do with the skills I learned. Qin Lang was a little helpless and could only talk casually. Hey, what age is this? Why are there still people using combat power detectors? Come in and talk. Gayo Yang greeted people into the supermarket. In the dimly lit basement, Qin Lang saw the faces of many old animals, women and children. There are much more people here than Qin Lang imagined. 200 to 300 people. They should have been digging on both sides, so that the underground space is huge and divided into many areas. Gayo Yu was very interested in a very clean boy like Qin Language. She stood beside Qin Lang and enthusiastically introduced to him where the canteen was, where the bathroom was, and where the training area was. Boss, the second lady seems to like it very much. This one's called Qin Language. One of his men lowered his voice and said. Gayo Yang grunted and clenched his fist hard. He'd better not have any evil thoughts, otherwise, my fist is not a decoration. Chapter 261. Big brother, spare me. What is a source creature? Question mark? Gayo Yu had obviously never been exposed to this kind of thing and acted quite curious. Forget it if you don't know. Qin Lang shrugged. It seemed that he still had to take action to get enough food and clothing. What are you talking about, Gayo? Yang came over and asked. Gayo Yu stood up and said, brother, Qin Lang came from outside the country to find a monster called the Origin Creature. Have you heard of it? Nervous. Since the end of the world, we have been eating, drinking, and having sex together. How can I know what you don't know, Gayo? Yang rolled his eyes at his sister and deliberately bent his arms in front of Qin Lang to warn. Boykin, I don't care where you come from or what you are looking for. Don't take your ideas from my sister. Otherwise don't blame me for being rude to you. My muscles are not the palm comes to show. Qin Lang, well, brother, exclamation mark. What are you doing? Gayo Yu said angrily. You seem to have some serious illness. It was me who took the initiative to chat with Qin Language. Boss. A young man trotted over quickly and said something into Gayo Yang's ear. Gayo Yang's expression changed. What about the scale? There is almost a large team. We did more than we did last time. The young man answered hastily. This is a disaster. Let the brothers assemble urgently. Brother, is there another tide coming? Well, maybe we can't hold it this time. You gather all the people who have no fighting ability. If we can't hold it, you take them and evacuate to the second stronghold in advance. Come. Gayo Yang said these words and left. The atmosphere in the originally relatively relaxed nursing home suddenly became tense. You guys often encounter the tide of households? Qin Lang asked as he rubbed the tip of his nose. Yes, why don't you have one? We have household tides every once in a while. According to the scale of household tides, I divided them into small teams, squadrons, and brigade. With the size of a brigade like today, the quantity is only I may really not be able to hold on to the above. Gayo Yu looked worried. She finally found a suitable place to live. After living there for a few months, she had to move again. It was really difficult to live her life. Take me to see it. Well, you also want to join the war. Good. Gayo Yu nodded and led Qin Lang to the second floor of the ruins of the supermarket. More than 30 gunmen have found shooting positions under Gayo Yang's arrangement. Ammunition boxes are piled beside the gunmen, within easy reach at any time. Further away, there was indeed a group of slow-moving creatures. Qin Lang took out the military telescope and looked at it and couldn't help but sigh. The average combat strength of the low-level bereaved group will not exceed 5,000. You don't think you can hold on, right, Gayo? Yang misunderstood Qin Lang's meaning. Qin Lang smiled bitterly and said, I can definitely keep it, mainly because I have some feelings. Sometimes I really don't know whether living in N2 is a blessing or a misfortune. What do you mean? So brave. Nothing. Qin Lang was too lazy to explain too much to him. He took out 2 firearms made by Li Jianchi with abyss 10 layer materials from the storage space. He gave the machine gun to Gao Yang and the other fire-breathing pistol to Gao Yu. Meeting is fate. This I'll give you 2 weapons. With them, even 10 or 100 more brigades can be easily dealt with. I have something else to do, so I'll take the first step. Why does this gun look so weird? Reed, where are you going? Gao. You wanted to ask again, but Qin Lang flew away into the distance. He didn't really want to waste time here. Damn it, what kind of card has he enhanced? It can actually fly. Gao. Yang Zheng was in a daze, came back to his senses and cursed angrily. Fuck you. What a fucking fool you are. 10 minutes later, a big battle broke out, and the group of bereaved households rushed through the dense fire net without fear of death. Gao Yang set up the Black Dragon machine gun with a try-attitude. The moment he pulled the trigger, all living things 200 meters away turned into nothing. The rising mushroom cloud and huge crater made dumbfounded. Is this a fucking machine gun or an atomic bomb launcher? Gao Yang rubbed his eyelids vigorously. Are you going to give away such an awesome weapon just to give it away? What kind of situation is this? I once heard Hang Tu say that our area is divided into N1 and N10, with a total of 10 survival difficulties. The higher the level of the area, the more ferocious the monsters and the higher the mortality rate. But correspondingly, survivors can survive through battles. Seize high-end cards and quickly increase your combat effectiveness. The rescued girl said softly. He just said that ours is N2, meaning the difficulty is only 2. I see. Gao. You exclaimed. Qin Lang came back from a difficult area. No wonder he has such a powerful weapon. He gave it to us as a toy. Gao. You looked into the distance with a bit of envy. He must have at least 70,000 to 80,000 combat power, right? In Gao Yu's imagination, a combat power of 70,000 to 80,000 is already the limit of human beings, and they are like gods among gods. Qin Lang didn't care what Gao Jiamai thought of him. At this time, he was already more than 100 kilometers away from the Bahu Center. As expected of N2, it is very suitable for people to live in. There is such a big shelter. Qin Lang landed in surprise, and a huge ancient city building appeared in front of him. The city wall is more than 10 meters high, with the large factory behind it closed, and a large number of human activities in front of it. This man flew down. You, who are you? The nearby residents were shocked by Qin Lang. After all, people who can fly are still very rare these days. I don't mean any harm. I'm just looking for something. Qin Lang stated his position. Who is your boss? I want to talk to him. You mean the Lord of Dugu City, right? He is in the Lord's mansion. The old man raised his hand and pointed to the only high-rise building in the distance. But if the city lord does not summon him, trespassers will be punished. Thank you very much. Qin Lang smiled lightly, and in one fell swoop, he had already arrived in front of the city lord's mansion. Push hard, and the gate opens with a creak. Only. Qin Lang looked at the furnishings in the room, and was stunned. What comes into view is all kinds of women's clothing, as if you have entered a women's clothing store. This Lord of Dugu City is a woman. Qin Lang nodded and walked straight forward, and then heard the laughter of several women, which was a bit like a vegetable market. Excuse me, is the Lord of Dugu City here? Qin Lang cleared the noise and asked loudly. It was as if the whole world was quiet. After more than 10 seconds, a gloomy voice sounded. Who are you? Who let you in? I'm looking for the source creature. Lord Dugu, do you know this thing? I'll count to 3 and get out of my city. Otherwise, oops. Qin Lang easily found the Lord of Dugu City in the back room by capturing the source of the sound and grabbed his neck. This is a fat man, weighing more than 300 pounds. What is discordant is that he is wearing women's underwear and panties. His face is painted in an extremely coquettish way. Brother, please spare my life. Dugu City Lord begged for mercy in horror. Chapter 262, Fateful Encounter. Qin Lang clasped his hands with a smile. The mountain of meat in front of him was already livid with fear. Due to excessive fear, the fat on his body was shaking irregularly. Ask you something, brother. Please speak. Rozhan kept kneeling and swallowed hard. As Dugu-Jan, who returned from N6 difficulty, he noticed the invincibility of Qin Lang at the first sight. Not to mention him alone, even 100 or 1,000 of him twisted into a ball would not be his opponent. So he behaved very honestly. Do you know where the original creature in Zeon is? Origin creature? Dugu-Jan was stunned for a moment and said hurriedly, I don't know what a source creature is. Can you give me some tips? Qin Lang pondered for a moment, then changed the question. Do you know where the strongest monster in Zeon is? Ah, I know this. Dugu-Jan nodded repeatedly. There is a monster in the center of Zeon City. It is extremely fierce. If you look at it with a combat power detector, the combat power detector will explode. I don't know if it is the one you are looking for, brother. Qin Lang nodded. The combat power detector will explode, which means that the creature's combat power exceeds 10 squares. In other words, it is an awakening level creature. The awakening level creatures in low difficulty areas like N2 are most likely source creatures. Take me. Okay, let's go. How? Could Dugu-Jan dare to say no? Wait. Qin Lang frowned. You change into human-like clothes. You are shameless, and I still want to wear it. Dugu-Jan lowered his head and looked at the huge bra that was already soaked with sweat. He giggled twice and rushed into the next room, shaking off his fat body. Soon there was the sound of women crying. Most of the content expresses worry, fearing that Dugu-Jan will never come back. It's okay, don't worry. If the big guys outside really wanted to kill me, they would just do it, and they wouldn't ask me for so much. To take a step back. If something happens to me, the card in the basement will be enough for you to live for a while. Ming. Sisters, I can't bear to leave you. Speaking of the emotional part, Dugu-Jan Ming cried, got up. Qin Lang suddenly couldn't laugh or cry. Although this fat man is a bit perverted, he is not bad, which is good. Not long after, Dugu-Jan put on his clothes and walked out obediently, followed by several young women who were extremely humble. They wanted to plead for Dugu-Jan, but they didn't dare. Don't worry, I won't hurt your sisters. Qin Lang waved his hand. As long as I get what I want, I will let him back. Thank you, brother. The women were immediately overjoyed. Brother, I have a car. Let's drive there. Dugu-Jan said cautiously. Drive too slowly. How to go then? Fly away. As he spoke, a pair of terrifying giant fleshy wings sprouted from Qin Lang's back, and a pair grew from his waist to firmly grasp Dugu-Jan's shoulders, and amidst the exclamations, he shot straight into the sky. Big brother. Dugu-Jan finally dared to open his eyes calmly after a while. His heart was shocked to the extreme, and he stammered, brother, how much fighting power you have. Combat strength. Qin Lang sighed softly. What a strange word. 10 minutes later, according to the direction pointed by Dugu-Jan, Qin Lang landed. Sure enough, there is an area directly in front of him that exudes a powerful aura. If you look closely, you will find that there is a barrier on the edge of this area. However, for Qin Lang, this barrier is no different from paper broken. Ha. Ha ha ha. An extremely arrogant laughter sounded from not far away. As the saying goes, there is no place to be found, even if you wear iron shoes, and it takes no effort to get there. Boy, I didn't expect to see you here again, Qin Lang turned around and saw that it was Hang Tu's group of people, numbering 70 or 80 in number, and all of them were elites. Hey. Qin Lang was speechless. He really didn't want to kill anyone, but there were always some unsighted people who had to give it away. Where's your mother? Hang Tu was speechless. Where are my people? Where are you hiding? Hang Tu refers to the two siblings who were rescued by Qin Lang. The boss. One of his subordinates said in horror. That fat man next to him, has a fighting strength of 8W8. What? 8W8? Hang Tu was startled. Did you get it wrong? How is that possible? Really, it's really 8W8. His subordinates looked horrified. In Zeon, only the lord of that city can achieve such an overwhelming fighting power. This Hang Tu can survive to this day, so he is not a fool. He immediately realized something, jumped out of the car and said respectfully, "Is it the Lord of Dugu City?" Qin Lang looked at Dugu Jian expressionlessly. "I'm asking you." Dugu Jian saw sweat on his forehead and swallowed. "Ah, yes, I'm Dugu Jian. What do you want to do?" It turns out he is really the Lord of Dugu City. Hang Tu's face was full of flattery. "I heard early in the morning that Lord Dugu lived in seclusion. Why did he come out to hunt today when he was free? I didn't know that this gentleman was one of yours. I offended you just now, so please don't take it off. In this post-apocalyptic world, where the jungle is strong and the jungle is strong, combat power is everything." Dugu Jian carefully looked at Qin Lang and saw that he had no reaction. He felt something in his heart and calmed down and said, "Who are you, Hang Tu? Oh, I've heard of you. Are you busy? If not, I'm just short of someone. Can you accompany me in?" Dugu Jian pointed to the area ahead. Hang Tu lowered his eyebrows and said, "Lord Dugu is joking. This barrier can't be broken at all. We can get in." As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Lang walked straight in. Just now, he broke the barrier. Dugu Jian quickly followed Qin Lang and hummed, "Come here. After the matter is done, you will definitely get some benefits." "Well, okay. I'll be right here." Hang Tu only thought about it for a few seconds before agreeing. He was very curious about what kind of treasures were hidden in the Ziyuan Forbidden Land. As for Qin Lang, he just thought of him as Dugu Jian's subordinate and didn't take it seriously at all. What no one knew was that not long after Qin Lang and his group entered, Gao Yang and Gao Yu arrived at the scene with more than a dozen elite guards. After they confirmed the strength of the weapons Qin Lang sent them, the first thing they thought of was to enter the Ziyuan Forbidden Land to look for the legendary treasure. Could the source creatures Qin Lang mentioned be the things in the Forbidden Land? Don't tell me. It's entirely possible. I once heard that there is a very powerful monster living here, and its combat power is unfathomable. Oh, it's all my fault. Why didn't I think of it? Gao Yu patted her head in self-blame. If I can see Qin Lang again, I must tell him this information. Telling him the news is secondary. You have to sleep with him and let him be my sister. Gao Yang said seriously. "You are fucking poisonous." Gao Yu kicked Gao Yang. Chapter 263. Heading to Yanlian City. After entering this independent area, Qin Lang took out the compass he had obtained from the Kahei family a long time ago and inserted a dark gold card into the compass. This simple action almost made Dugu Jian's eyes pop out. When did a dark gold card that could establish social status become a consumable? No wonder this big boss said that combat power is a very unfamiliar word. Dugu Jian's heart was full of disappointment and curiosity. He has always believed that there is something outside the world. There is someone outside the world, and there must be someone stronger than him. But when this person actually appeared in front of him, he felt it was too magical. After consuming the dark gold card, the compass made a sound. Qin Lang's eyes lit up. The source creature was indeed here, but why with a bright spot marking the source creature superimposed on them? Could it be that? Qin Lang understood, grabbed the Dugu sword, and swept it aside. Next moment, suddenly a ray of light shot out from the ground, shooting straight into the sky, followed by the earth shattering, and a strange creature came into view. This creature was about 24 tall and covered in scales. Although it had human limbs but no genitals, it looked a bit like a stone sculpture at first glance. The twisted sword in its right hand was its weapon. Fire, fire. Hang Tu's eyes brightened, and he called on his younger brother to shoot. However, after a round of concentrated fire, the skin of the source creature was not even broken. Not only that, it also angered the creature. It turned around and rushed towards the direction of Hang Tu and others. With one strike of the sword, several young men and their cars were killed, split into pieces. Hang Tu was horrified and screamed as he ran away. "Lord Dugu, save me. Help you. I can't fuck him. Just ask for your blessings." Dugu Jian knew how much he weighed, so he replied decisively. Fuck you." Hang Tu cursed angrily. Behind Fang were many of his subordinates who were as badly injured as him and fled. With them attracting the source creatures, he was still safe for a while. Damn it, you have to get out of this damn place. This thing wasn't shot by anyone at all. Hang. 2 made up his mind, rubbed oil on his soles and ran away. Unfortunately, he met Gao Yang's team who was walking in. Hang 2. As the saying goes, enemies are extremely jealous when they meet. Without saying a word, Gao Yang picked up the Black Dragon machine gun and fired a hail of bullets to greet him. Then there was no more. This man who was domineering an N2 and committed all kinds of lewdness and robbery was directly gassed. Death is not painful at all. This gun is awesome. Gao Yang had the illusion that he was invincible. At that time, more and more Hang 2's men realized something was wrong and ran out. Then they were blocked by Gao Yang and Gao Yu's brothers and sisters at the door and killed them indiscriminately. Qin Lang, why are you here? Gao Yu's sharp eyes saw Qin Lang sitting on the mountain watching the tiger fight and shouted loudly. Qin Lang raised his eyes and flew over with a smile. Why are you here? We were just passing by. Haven't you been looking for the origin creature? I think the monster here is probably the one you are looking for. Oh, it's that thing. Gao Yu raised her hand and pointed at the creatures that were killing randomly in the crowd. Qin Lang said happily, indeed, it is the source creature I'm looking for. Brother-in-law, where did you get this gun? It's too powerful. Gao Yang said with a smile, while attacking the source creature point as a weapon made from abyssal materials. The Black Dragon machine gun is extremely powerful. Even the origin creature cannot resist it. The monster was soon riddled with bullet holes, and rubble fell all over the ground. The origin creature was furious, regardless of the ground. Attacked Gao Yang. Brother, be careful. When Gao Yu was about to activate the fire-breathing pistol, a figure stood in front of Gao Yang. With a swing of his giant sword, the original creature's body was dismembered. Seconds. The place was eerily quiet. Qin Lang ignored the shocked eyes of the people around him, stepped forward and crushed the head of the source creature, and picked up the card inside. N2 Mine Area Liberation card. Got it. It takes no effort at all. Qin Lang is in a good mood. Big brother is big brother. So powerful. Got, if I had 1%, no, 1% of your fighting power, then my life would be worth it. Dugu Jian immediately rushed over to flatter him. Qin Lang smiled brightly and introduced Gao Yang and Dugu Jian. We are destined to meet each other. From now on, you can take care of each other. By the way, I can't let you come. This is my thank you gift to you. As he spoke, Qin Lang threw 20 kilograms of hell crystal cores to Dugu Jian, who testified, this is this the legendary hell crystal core? Qin Lang was a little surprised. Do you know this thing? I know it. But this is the first time I've seen it with my own eyes. It can be used to make cards. So many, it must be enough to make 10 or 20 supreme cards, right? Dugu Jian danced excitedly, and after he was done fluttering, he knelt down to Qin Lang. Once a big brother, always a big brother. Big brother, Qin Lang, Gao Yang, Gao Yu. People with nearly 9 combat strengths are like licking dogs in front of my sister Guan. Gao Yang lowered his voice, and before he finished speaking, he kicked his sister again. Qin Lang, you, where are you going to go next? Do you want to go back to the shelter to take a rest? Gao Yu mustered up the courage to ask point. If someone else asked, Qin Lang would most likely refuse, but since it was Gao Yu, a beautiful and outgoing beauty with a humane appearance, who took the initiative to invite, Qin Lang had no reason to refuse. Have a rest and then go again. You won't miss these 2 levels. Qin Lang thought for a while. One morning 2 days later, a stream of light flashed across the sky and disappeared without a trace. It was Qin language. He left Xi'an alone without telling anyone, and his next destination ahead was Yanlian City. This city is also N2, and is a coastal city. The third liberation card he is looking for, N2 Ocean Area Liberation card, will most likely be in Yanlian City. During the flight, Qin Lang had a faint smile on his face, and it was difficult not to recall the feeling of fighting Gao Yu. A woman who takes the initiative is really charming. Although Gao Yu is very good, and he left a lot of cards to Gao Yu before leaving, he knew in his heart that the second year of the apocalypse was about to come, and he and Gaoyu were destined to be in two different worlds before he awakened people. One day later, Yanlian City. Standing above the city, looking at the city that was razed to the ground, Qin Lang frowned and fell into deep thought. This city is not like those cities he passed before. Although those cities are also dilapidated, there are at least some broken walls and broken buildings left over from the civilized era. Yanlian City is different. The entire city seems to have been controlled by someone. After blasting it 10 times, except for the charred land, there was no wood or living things. Even the water at the seaside was black. What on earth happened here? Qin Lang landed at the beach with such doubts. Ha 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 ha. The whistling wind and the sound of waves hitting the beach are intertwined, which makes people feel heavy. Ha. Qin Lang was about to go to the deep sea to have a look, when he suddenly touched a hard object under his feet. When he lowered his head, he saw that it was a struggling blackhead. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264, The Story of Nuclear Peace. His head was burnt black and his expression was sore, as if he had seen something terrible before his death. Qin Lang groaned, took out his giant sword and swept away. The violent sword energy immediately swept the gravel into the sea, exposing everything on the beach. The slowly man manages countless households. There are men and women, old and young, even babies who are raped and naked. They were all burned to death on this coast. Was it killed by a monster? Or man-made? Why choose the seaside? Qin Lang murmured to himself. Even though he was well informed, he was inevitably a little moved when he saw such a miserable scene. Sand, rustle. There was a slow sound of footsteps in the distance, which attracted Qin Lang's attention. He heard the sound and looked around, only to see an old man crawling out of a certain sand hole, completely ignoring his existence, and slowly walked toward the beach. If he hadn't been wearing shabby clothes, Qin Lang would have been regarded as a monster by him. Hey, Qin Lang shouted. The old man accepted the certificate, turned around and looked at Qin Lang. Zun's body stood up a little straighter. What happened here? Why are there so many houses? Qin Lang approached and asked. He saw clearly the old man's appearance. The old man's face has been melted by the high temperature, and his facial features cannot be distinguished. There are only a pair of squinting eyes and a mouth used for eating. It looks very scary. The old man stared blankly at the exposed bodies and cried out in pain. It's all our fault. It's all our fault. We deserve it. Qin Lang gave a bunch of food cards to the old man and calmed his mood. After a long time, the old man finally recovered his mood and told Qin Lang what happened. Not long ago, Yanlian City was still a beautiful city. Although there were constant intrusions by monsters, thanks to the strong hunting team stationed in the city for a long time, I dare not say that I had no worries about food and clothing, but at least everyone could eat. Life safety is guaranteed. But there is an old saying that goes well, relying on everyone to run. People can only rely on themselves in the end. During a certain hunting process, the hunting team provoked an unknown monster and was wiped out. The only team leader who escaped survived his injuries for a few days and died in a temporary hospital. In order to survive, the residents of the shelter voted for a man named Heaping became the leader and led them to survive. Heaping was a retired firefighter, was not only capable but also had a strong sense of justice. He happily accepted the job. He took his 18-year-old daughter and several colleagues to form a new hunting team and went out every day to help the nursing home search for people supplies. However, the good times did not last long. Not long after, when Heaping was out hunting, the shelter was attacked by another team. These more than a dozen extremely vicious men brought Heaping's daughter to the square and humiliated her in front of the public. There were thousands of masters present, but due to the strength of this group, no one dared to say a few words for the poor girl, let alone resist. Seeing that the residents of the nursing home were so weak, this group of evil men had evil thoughts in their hearts, actually started a game of ordering their troops, making the men in the nursing home take turns to regret humiliating the girl who had lost her life to me. By the time Heaping came back, His daughter had already died of serious injuries and died of anger. But even so, there were still several men lying on her daughter's body, and there were many people lining up behind her. From that day on, Ping went crazy. One night he dug out his daughter's body and disappeared into the night. No one takes the disappearance of madmen seriously, and life goes on. Then a long time passed, until one day, a man came back carrying a stinky baby's body. He went crazy and wanted everyone to bury his daughter with him. Then he dropped many powerful bombs, driving the crowd to the beach. The explosion lasted for 7 days and 7 nights, and Yanlian City was razed to the ground. No matter how much he begged, Ping turned a deaf ear to the residents of the Bahu shelter who were driven to the beach by Ping. He burned them all to death with a fire, and they were happy while burning shouted, "Daughter, Daddy avenged you, haha, Daddy avenged you." Only a few people who learned anti-high temperature cards survived. The old man stuffed a piece of bread into his mouth and cried, "We are the ones who are sorry for Ping." Qin Lang was silent. Taking on the role of Ping, Qin Lang did not find anything wrong with what Ping did. If his daughter was, he could destroy half the world. Ping is just an ordinary member of the hunting team. Why is he so powerful? Can he blow up an entire city? With Qin Lang's current strength, it would not be too difficult to destroy a city, but that was a few months ago after all. I don't know. The old man shook his head repeatedly. He is very scary. He can conjure countless explosive bombs. Qin Lang was silent. Could it be that Ping took Yanlian City's regional liberation card by chance? Qin Lang took out the 2 liberation cards in his hand and wanted to see if a link could be generated. The result was disappointing. The cards were motionless and too far away from the card holder. I've seen this kind of card. Don't come here. Leave. The old man seemed to have seen something terrible and screamed back. He used this kind of card to summon bombs. Qin Lang suddenly realized that the worst thing had happened. The card had been taken away by Ping. Qin Lang left Yanlian City and flew aimlessly along the coastline. Half a day later, in the evening, he found a shelter that was being besieged by a large group of monsters. The people in the shelter were quite powerful, with 70,000 to 80,000 combat power, but there were too many monsters covering the ground. It seemed that they were about to fall. Qin Lang rushed out in time and used only 2 swords to burn the monster tide. Everyone in the Bahuzo was amazed. After learning that Qin Lang was looking for region liberation card, they all said they could not help. The city he was in was N7 difficulty. The strength of monsters would increase or decrease every once in a while. It was not easy to survive. The news was quite blocked. Maybe the shelter has the information for you want. Is there a shelter nearby? Which number? Yes. Shelter number 19. Keep going east and you will see a large area of giant mushroom buildings. That's the shelter, boss. It's so late today. It's not safe to travel. Why not rest here for a night? The boss of the Bahuzo brought out the most beautiful mother in the Bahuzo and wanted her to sleep with Qin Lang, but was rejected by Qin Lang. It's not that Qin Lang pretended to be a gentleman, but the little ammunition he had consumed on Gaoyu, and he didn't have time to refill it. In the early morning, Qin Lang appeared near shelter number 19. A war was breaking out with the shelter as the center. Chapter 265 Dimensionality Attack. The gorgeous 5-color light columns blasted fiercely in the air, and the explosions were deafening. Although the number of people in the shelter camp wearing blue and white uniforms was much smaller than that of the people besieging the shelter, they relied on their overall strength to withstand the waves of attacks from the scattered camp. The battle was fierce and difficult to resolve. Qin Lang did not choose to join the battle, but found a high ground to sit on the mountain and watch the tiger fight. Qin Lang's vision was so sharp that he could see at a glance that, although the scattered camp had a large number of people, they were a mixed bag and mostly a mob. Even if they still had the upper hand, they would be dispersed in a short time. Boom. Boom. Countless skills exploded in the pass after more than 20 minutes of continuous bombardment. The thousands of people in the scattered camp began to decline. The shelter camp obviously did not want to miss the opportunity to fire the enemy. They opened the metal circular gate and released hundreds of deformed people with electronic collars on their necks. The average combat power of these deformed people was as high as 8W, which was close to the highest combat power of both sides. As soon as they appeared, the scattered camp was immediately in a state of chaos. Sister, that's my sister. Dad, it's me. Look at me. Beast. You beasts in the shelter should all die. You should all go to hell. Amidst the exclamations and angry roars, the deformed people still entered the no man's land and caught up with the fleeing crowd to start a massacre. They were not afraid of death and could not even feel the pain. Even if their bodies were cut in half, they could still crawl with their arms to chase the enemy. Even if their heads were cut off, they could still move for a while. Retreat quickly. The commander of the scattered camp was a middle-aged man in his early 30s. He exclaimed and slashed back several deformed people with a knife. Brother, King, go quickly, we'll cover you, don't worry about me. Several men and women not far from Song Chanking exclaimed, and more than a dozen deformed people were gathering from all directions, rushing towards Song Chanking Point. Although Wei Chanking was very fierce and his combat power was infinitely close to that of Shifeng, the other side was outnumbered and had no sense of pain. Under the entanglement of 5 or 6 deformed people, it was difficult for him to leave the battlefield for a while. Song Chanking was being held back by the deformed people. The air not far away was distorted. More than a dozen shelter masters who had mastered the stealth skill approached Song Chanking. Boss, brother, King, be careful. After receiving the reminder, Song Chanking quickly turned into a ball of blood mist and fled, making the attacks of those invisible assassins fall in vain. Chase him. As long as Song Chanking dies, the alliance will inevitably collapse. No matter what the cost, he must be killed to prevent future troubles. Yes, the group of invisible assassins turned into nothingness again, and together with the deformed people, they bit Song Chanking tightly and prevented him from escaping. Oh no, I might really be in trouble this time. Song Chanking's face turned pale. The continuous fighting made his body extremely exhausted. During the escape, Song Chanking saw a man standing on the hillside. He raised his eyebrows and thought it was his own latecomer. He hurriedly said, "Run. What are you doing? There are assassins behind you." As he spoke, Song Chanking passed by the man. This man was Qin Lang, who was watching the fun. Qin Lang showed a helpless expression. He just wanted to watch the fun quietly and didn't want to get involved in this mess. Cough. The 3 deformed people found Qin Lang, opened their bloody mouths, and rushed towards him with poisonous mucus. "Hey, I told you to run. What are you doing?" Song Chanking looked back. His heart suddenly sank, but in the next second, a shocking scene happened. The 3 deformed people were caught by 3 huge hands and crushed into meat paste like mosquitoes. Ah, what's going on? Song Chanking was stunned. He wiped his eyes hard. Even if the facts were in front of him, he didn't dare to believe it. Deformed fighting body. This is a creature cultivated by capturing living people in the shelter and fusing monster cells. Each one is very powerful. Even for him, it takes a lot of effort to kill 10 in a one-on-one situation. The sudden change made the 10 invisible assassins who had been chasing Song Chanking stop. They had never seen such a fierce existence. The leader shouted angrily, "Who are you? Dare to be an enemy of our shelter? Do you want to die?" Qin Lang tilted his head to look at him and suddenly smiled. "Dare to talk to me like this? Do you want to die?" The leading man glared. "You are looking for death. Come on together." Bing. More than a dozen invisible assassins and more than a dozen deformed people turned their targets and attacked Qin Lang. Wei Chanking exclaimed, "Run. There are so many people, you can't stop them, boss, brother, King. Look at this time and run." Several of Song Chanking's men rushed over, and they were relieved to see that Song Chanking was fine. Song Chanking raised his eyebrows. "Brother, which shelter are you from? Why have I never seen you before?" Qin Lang did not answer and still had his back to him. "He saved my life. How can I just walk away?" "Brother, I'll help you." Song Chanking took a deep breath and definitely fought with them. Exclamation mark. "I would rather let the people of Guangxia betray me than I will betray them." This is Song Chanking's principle. This is also the main reason why he was elected as the leader of the alliance. However, Just as Song Chanking and his men were about to rush back, the battle ended in an instant. The mysterious man used only one sword to kill more than a dozen invisible assassins and deformed people in seconds. Looking at the pieces of meat scattered all over the ground. Song Chanking was completely stunned. Am I dreaming? How could someone be so powerful? Xioliu, Xiojin, did you see it? Yes, we saw it. Isn't this too outrageous? The only survivor, the invisible assassin leader, was even more shocked than Song Chanking and the others. He took a breath and retreated dozens of meters, saying in disbelief, Who are you? Why are you so strong? Could it be that you came back from the difficult area? Question mark? The invisible assassin leader gave the answer himself. You know too much. Qin Lang smiled, and when he returned to the original place, he had a bloody head in his hand. At the same time, in shelter number 19, the current events displayed on the huge screen stopped abruptly. The leader of the shelter in a black suit was shocked and angry and slammed the table hard. This guy! Exclamation mark. Who is he? Exclamation mark. How can he be so strong? If he came back from the high difficulty area, how can he not be so strong? A young man was sitting on a chair not far away. He put his legs on the table in a very unruly manner, holding a cigarette in his mouth and leisurely. People who come out of the high difficulty area are definitely a dimensionality reduction attack on people in the smoking low difficulty area. The young man exhaled a puff of smoke. If this guy hadn't appeared out of thin air, Song Chanking would have died. What a pity. Chapter 266, Treasures of Shelter number 19. Is now the time to make sarcastic remarks. The leader is very annoyed by the attitude of young people. The young man smiled and spoke softly. What, do you want me to go out and fight with this mysterious guy? Sorry, I'm the liaison officer, and am only responsible for connecting the shelter. Other than that, anything else has nothing to do with me. The leader twitched his lips, and a hint of sinisterness flashed through his slightly cloudy pupils. Song Chanking got the help of the mysterious man. Do you think he will come back? With the relationship between Shelter 19 and the Alliance, once the defense line is breached, do you think the shelter can still exist? How can you go back to work then? The young man sat up straight, removed his cynical expression, and said seriously, there are many shelters that have been completely destroyed, and yours is no less than number 19. Unless you give me that thing, I can take action. The leader turned his back and said in a cold voice, how many times have I told you, I don't have that thing at all? Then, there is nothing we can do. Let us wait for the next development. Seeing that the conversation could not be reached, the young man lay back on his chair and lit a cigarette again. Alliance gathering place. This is a giant village built on the plains. According to Song Chanking's introduction, there are 3 permanent residents here, and there are almost 3,000 people with combat effectiveness. What's going on between you and Vault 19? Qin Lang asked casually. This matter is a long story. If Boss Qin has time, can I find a place to drink tea and chat slowly? Song Chanking was in awe of Qin Lang in his words. He had already confirmed Qin Lang's identity, and he was definitely starting from a difficult situation. If the master who came back from the area could tie him to the Alliance's chariot, it would be easy to burn down the shelter. Qin Lang nodded indifferently. The shelter was his enemy to a certain extent, and there was no harm in knowing more about it. Weni Chanking led Qin Lang to a watchtower and asked 2 men, a man and a woman, to make tea. When the aroma of tea spread from the air, he began talking about it an hour later. Qin Lang has fully understood why the Alliance hates the shelter so much. In order to research the technology of deformed people, and in the name of protecting the ultimate fire of mankind, the shelter invaded the shelter and took the survivors in the shelter back for in vivo research. This practice aroused strong dissatisfaction from other local shelters, so they formed a major alliance, always ready to take revenge on the shelter. At the beginning, the shelter did not dare to do anything openly, and all the conspiracies were carried out in secret. It may be that they later discovered that their strength could completely overwhelm the Hibigosho, so they tore off the mask of hypocrisy. As long as the shelter doesn't collapse, I won't have a good life with anyone! Exclamation mark. Weni Chanking became more and more excited as he spoke. He suddenly stood up, knelt down on one knee and said, "Boskin, I know what I said next is very offensive, but I really want to ask you to help me destroy the shelter. Get up and talk." Qin Lang was as steady as a mountain and said with a faint smile, "It's the end of the world now, so don't resort to moral kidnapping. I can help you. What benefits can I get?" Song Changking thought for a while and said, "The leader of Refuge 19, Lin Lei, has a very powerful card in his hand. It seems to be called Ren. Region Liberation Card! Exclamation mark. Qin Lang was stunned. "You continue. The ability of this card is different from the cards I usually capture. It seems to be able to continuously generate resources. As long as you have this card, you no longer have to worry about life resources. I think Boskin may be interested in this card." Song Changking is cautious. Observe Qin Lang's expression. Qin Lang was silent for a while and took out the 2 regional liberation cards used for positioning. Everything was as Song Changking said. These 2 cards automatically pointed in the direction of the shelter. There is indeed a regional liberation card there. It's this kind of card. You actually have 2 of them. Song Changking was dizzy, and the shock Qin Lang brought to him was beyond words. Terrible. If nothing else, this area liberation card alone is enough to be a bargaining chip for me to take action, but forget it today. Qin Lang stretched his waist and said, "Guarantee your peace of mind. We will be locked up tomorrow and we will discuss how to deal with the shelter." "Okay. Xia Liu, take Boskin to rest," Song Changking said to the woman guarding outside. "Yes, Mr. Qin, please come this way." The woman was wearing a camouflage uniform, and there was a lot of dust and blood on her face that could not be clearly seen, but her facial features showed that she was definitely a beauty. Wu Liu took Qin Lang into a safe house, closed the door and said, "Thank you for saving our brother King. Easy to do." Qin Lang took a look at this small safe house and saw that the woman took off her sword and hung it on the wall. He couldn't help but be happy. "Why?" Song Changking asked. "You to accompany me?" Wu Liu's face was expressionless. "You are overthinking. Even I don't have the chance to enter the safe house. We only entertain VIPs here. I just want to borrow your place to take a bath. If it is inconvenient, I will leave immediately." Qin Lang waved his hand and made a pleased gesture. Soon the sound of rushing water came from the bathroom, and after a while, Wu Liu came out wrapped in a white towel. Just as Qin Lang judged, this Wu Liu is indeed a great beauty, especially because her body is wet now, which adds a bit of temptation. "Is the Alliance so short of resources?" Qin Lang asked casually, while sitting on the sofa smoking. Wu Liu said calmly, "Although the number of fighters in the shelter is small, their strength is higher than ours. There are limited monsters here, so it's not surprising that we can't rob them. However, I heard from King Lu that you have agreed to fight the shelter with us." "Yes, the shelter has what I need." Qin Lang nodded. "Yeah. I hope it will succeed." Wu Liu bent down to pick up the dirty clothes on the ground. "Then I'll go out, please." Qin Lang smiled faintly. HMPH. Wu Liu left the safe house, slammed the door, and started a heart-to-heart talk with an unhappy face. "Brother King, this guy's not interested in me." Chapter 267. Strength Verification. When Qin Lang and Wu Liu appeared in the United Front room, the noisy United Front room suddenly fell silent like a vegetable market, and everyone focused their attention on Qin Language. The news that he easily killed a dozen freaks and wiped out a team of invisible assassins yesterday had already spread. Song Changking stood up and greeted, "Master Qin, please come this way." Qin Lang nodded and sat next to Song Changking, while Wu Liu, as Song Changking's confidant and bodyguard, stood beside Song Changking. "It was very lively here just now. What were you talking about?" Qin Lang asked casually. Before Song Changking could speak, a middle-aged man below spoke. He raised his fist towards Qin Lang and said, "Boskin, I heard that you, old Song Hui, are planning to organize manpower to attack the shelter. Is this true?" "You?" Qin Lang raised his eyebrows. "Who did you listen to?" "You." "Don't care who I listen to, just answer yes or no." The middle-aged man had a bad temper and seemed very impatient. Qin Lang smiled and rubbed his shoulders indifferently. "Let's forget it. Then this is your fault, Boskin." This time it was a woman in red who spoke. "We know that, Boskin. You are a leader in combat, but our alliance really cannot withstand this kind of continuous consumption. Even if we want to attack again, we have to cultivate for a period of time and think about it in the long term. I agree. Let's put aside whether we can win or not. There is no point in fighting every day. Brothers all need time to rest. The alliance representatives below were talking a lot, and they were unwilling to fight such an uncertain battle. Song Chanking's face was full of embarrassment and he yelled for silence several times before he controlled everyone's emotions. He said in a deep voice, I must make it clear that the attack on the shelter was my idea and had nothing to do with Boss Qin. I invited him to help me there. In other words, if you really want to find someone to attack, you should attack me instead of Boss Qin, the strong supporter. Old Song, you know that the strength of the shelter is getting stronger day by day. Why are you still? Song Chanking interrupted the middle-aged man. Since you know that the strength of the shelter is getting stronger day by day, why can't you take the opportunity and unite to defeat the enemy? Does it completely expel or suppress fire? Do we have to wait until Boss Qin leaves to fight the weak against the strong? Or wait for the shelter to come back to its senses one day and launch a large-scale army to wipe us off the map? Brothers, Qin Lang is our only savior. His strength is definitely beyond your imagination. Someone from Song Dynasty dares to guarantee his life. Brother King, it's not that we don't believe you, it's just your words that don't support you. I can't imagine anyone who can kill the deformed people and the elite assassin team and the shelter instantly. Yes, you said he can kill deformed people instantly. At least show us his hands. That's right. Hearing is false, and seeing is believing. If Qin Lang behaves as you said, I'm willing to participate in this siege. Quiet, everyone. Please be quiet. Song Chanking knocked continuously on the table, showing an embarrassed expression, and looked at Qin Lang, as if asking for help. Qin Lang smiled lightly. I finally understand. You don't trust my strength. That's right. It's such that. But Qin Lang changed the subject. I'm not a real artist in Dokuo. If you ask me to perform, I will perform. Where can I put the face I'm looking for? Or, who is willing to come out and be a target for me? One by one. Ugly words at the front. My control of power was average. Don't blame me if Fang Yi was killed instantly. Well, the 10 representatives of the alliance below look at me, and I look at you. They don't want to be the one who stands out. If you don't want to, then I'll just pick one. What do you want to call him? Qin Lang cast his light on the middle-aged man who shouted the most fiercely. In fact, he knew that this man's name was Renemo. Wu Liu had already told him during a chat last night. Road. I'm nicknamed Iron Man. Brothers call me Leo Tai or Brother Ta. Iron Man took a breath and stood up. Well, Qin Lang raised 3 fingers. Hit me with your strongest skills. If I lose a hair, I will turn around and leave. Never stop. Whatever happens next is up to you. Whether the refugees war or peace has nothing to do with me. Zio, Boss Qin, you. Song Chanking is a little anxious. Qin Lang was happy. Why, are you worried about me? Of course not. Song Chanking lowered his voice. Leo Tai is very powerful and is known as the heaven-shaking Iron Fist. Offense is his strength and defense is his weakness. You should be the attacking party. Wu Liu also said in a low voice. Brother King is right. So far, there is no object that can stand still and take on the old Iron 3 punches. A battle last night made Wu Liu fall in love with the man who brought her ultimate pleasure, so she naturally didn't want anything to happen to Qin Lang. I originally wanted to choose the attacking side, but Qin Lang stretched. I'm afraid of beating him to death. This is the truth. Qin Lang's previous control of strength was far from reaching the level of lightness. It would not be a good idea to kill this Iron Man. Okay, Iron Man said with a loud voice. I fucking like you being so arrogant. Let's go. Go to the square. If you can really take my 3 punches, I will only follow your lead from now on. Good. Qin Lang stood up and waved his hand. Please, hey. Song Chanking originally wanted to say more, but looking at the current situation, it's hard to get off the horse, so he can only let everything go on. A group of people immediately came to the empty square. Qin Lang stood firm and opened his hands. Don't hold back. If you have any killing skills, just show them. Plus, buddy, show him some color. Otherwise, do you really think that there are no masters in our alliance? Too damn arrogant. I can't stand it. Even if he came back from a difficult area, so what? We have seen more than 90,000 masters before. Brother, kill him. The scene was almost one-sided, all cheering for Iron Man. On the other hand, only Song Chanking and Wu Liu were optimistic about Qin language. Are you ready? Iron Man narrowed his eyes, and his fists began to glow faintly, like a branding iron, and the air around him became hot. Come on, don't talk nonsense. Qin Lang looked relaxed. Okay, then I'm here! Exclamation mark. The first punch. Iron Man took a deep breath, and the light on his fist became brighter. He jumped up and attacked Qin Lang's face. Bang. Next second, a violent explosion sounded, and the dust curtain swept the sky and the earth. Everyone held their breath. When the dust curtain dissipated, everyone showed incredible expressions. Qin Lang was still the same Qin Lang, without any change, but the Iron Man's right fist was completely broken, and the palm above the wrist completely disappeared, turning into blood and flesh scattered all over the ground. The Iron Man reacted and rolled on the ground in pain. How is this possible? He is really fine. What happened just now? After half a minute, the discussion began to sound point. Qin Lang did not notice that Wu Liu behind him looked at him with a more fiery look. Chapter 268 Strong Genes. Drink it. Qin Lang threw a bottle of Hushin potion to Iron Man. Iron Man was so painful that he almost fainted. Seeing this situation, he couldn't care so much, so he bit open the cork and drank it in one gulp. A surprising scene happened again. Only 2 or 3 seconds after drinking the potion, Iron Man's crushed palm grew new flesh and blood, and in an instant an intact palm appeared in front of everyone. What kind of medicine is this? That it works so well. Cakers. Special medicine can't do this. Iron Man stretched out his fully recovered palm and suddenly shot Qin Lang excitedly. Boss Qin, Iron Man, will only obey you from now on. You ask me to go east, and I will never go west. Qin Lang smiled faintly and said nothing. Song Chanking came to Qin Lang with a smile on his face and said loudly, "You have seen the strength of Boss Qin. Who has any objections?" There was silence. After a while, someone shouted, "Destroy the shelter, destroy the shelter, destroy the shelter." More and more people followed and roared, and their morale reached its peak in an instant. Assemble immediately and set off immediately. Avenge our relatives. Let the bloodshed of the shelter be repaid with blood. Song Chanking's voice resounded throughout Guandi. Vault 19. Leader's exclusive lounge. Leader Lin Lei was sitting in front of the computer, looking at the regional liberation card floating in the glass bottle, pointing in one direction, and his expression became very solemn. Is it coming so soon? Lin Lei murmured to himself, suddenly exhaled a breath, and said viciously, "If you want to fight, then fight. I, Lin Lei, have never been afraid of anyone. Boy, I will let you try it today. Shelter technology is amazing." Lin Lei pulled out a metal box from under the bed. After opening it, he found 10 syringes of different colors quietly placed inside. The liquid in each syringe released a frightening smell. Outside the shelter on the empty battlefield, hordes of monsters were devouring human bodies. These humanoid creatures were small in nature. After discovering that a large human army was approaching them, they immediately chose to escape. Song Chanking stood on a high slope and looked into the distance. The shelters were heavily fortified, and thousands of gunmen entered trenches and bunkers early in the morning. The hundreds of deformed people have not yet been activated and are in a sleeping state, lying around in various directions. Da 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 da. Accompanied by a crisp sound of footsteps, Lin Lei, a double grey man, walked out of the shelter under the protection of a group of guards. Song Chanking, do you think you can do whatever you want with a strong supporter? You really don't think Shelter 19 is so easy to break through, do you? Lin Lei shouted loudly. Lin Lei, stop talking nonsense. The green eyes were red and covered with bloodshot eyes. You conduct experiments on living people, burn, kill, and loot, and do all kinds of evil. You'd better be glad that you will die in battle later. Otherwise, I will definitely make your life worse than death. Cut. Lin Lei looked disdainful. Let's talk about it. If you can beat me. Yes, I'm experimenting on living people, but my goal is to save all mankind. At some point, sacrifice is inevitable in order to accomplish great things. Fart. Why the hell don't you sacrifice one of your own? Woo. Liu cursed angrily that her sister and mother were both captured and transformed into deformed people by Lin Lei. My people are all useful, and of course they cannot be sacrificed casually. Lin Lei raised the corner of his mouth slightly. I need you. It's just rubbish, and rubbish should be thrown into the trash can. Stop talking nonsense and attack. Qin Lang has never liked it. He just fights when he fights. How can he beat the enemy to the ground with his talk? Wei Changqing nodded and raised his hand. Brothers, follow me and charge. Today, either the alliance will collapse, or the refuge will be completely removed. There is no third way. Kill, 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 kill. The alliance army swarmed forward, seemingly in disarray, but in fact each team had a clear division of labor, and was led by their respective alliance representatives. The war breaks out again! Exclamation mark. The development of the battle was very similar to yesterday. When all the high power freaks were activated, the alliance immediately fell into a hard fight. Almost each of the few strong men in the alliance had to face 3 or 4 freaks at the same time. Siege. The awakening is stuck on him. Qin Lang confirmed the whereabouts of the card, summoned his giant sword, turned into a beam of light, and rushed towards Lin Lei. He has no interest in slaughtering other people. In fact, he only has one, and that is the regional liberation card. As for the hatred between the alliance and sanctuary, what does it have to do with him? Well done. When Lin Lei saw Qin Lang coming to kill him, he pierced his body with 3 syringes without hesitation. Boom. Suddenly, a very powerful force was released from Lin Lei's body. Shout. The giant sword was swung out, and the violent sword energy knocked away more than a dozen guards, including Lin Lei, and even 7 or 8 buildings behind them were destroyed. Too strong. Song Changqing was lost in thought. He had always overestimated Qin Lang's strength, but unexpectedly, he underestimated it in the end. Not to mention anything else, even 10 of him could not withstand this sword. He's not dead yet. Qin Lang had a weird smile. Lin Lei climbed up from the ruins and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth carelessly. Ahem. You are so strong. With your level of strength, even among the awakened ones, you are still strong, right? Since you are so capable, why don't you join me in the regular army? Why hang out with a bunch of stragglers? When the future comes, your regular army will not let me enter the shelter. Qin Lang spread his hands. Besides, I'm used to being free, and not used to being restrained. While speaking, Qin Lang did not stop, and kept approaching Lin Lei. Lin Lei nodded. Do you know what I hate the most in my life? What I hate the most is trash like you who stepped on the wind, and took off, because of your bad luck. 3 generations of my family have been officials. If it weren't for this, I would be damned in the future. My life is so wonderful that a loser like you can't even dream of it. Qin Lang laughed angrily at the success. Are these your last words? Leave your mother behind. Lin Lei inserted another syringe into his body, and his breath rose again. Hey, you don't want to live anymore. With your physique, you can't bear so much strong genes, and you will become a monster that loses itself. A man suddenly spoke and his body appeared from mid-air. Qin Lang actually discovered him early on, but the other party was very weak, and had been too lazy to pay attention to him. I don't care. Ha ha ha. Lin Lei gasped for air. Veins popped out on his forehead. Anyone who threatens my status will die. The man pinched his eyebrows and said with some helplessness, you are really addicted to officialdom. Ah. Lin Lei suddenly screamed, and his skin began to tear. Bloody hands and feet were squeezed out from the cracked skin. In an instant, he turned into a monster with arms and legs all over his body. Chapter 269 in One Land of Plenty. Cough. Lin Lei, who had completely turned into a monster, screamed and rushed towards Qin Lang. Before the person arrived, the fishy smell of his body had penetrated into his nose. No matter how abstract you become, you can't hurt me. Qin Lang faced this twisted monster instead of retreating. Instead, he took a few steps forward As he swung his giant sword, the half-moon arc of light split Lin Lei into like cutting through tofu. The split flesh and blood body was squirming on the ground. At this time, Lin Lei had completely broken away from the category of human beings and turned into two fleshy worms. What Qin Lang secretly sighed was that his vitality was extremely strong and he could still survive after being split open. Crawling on hands and feet, trying to relink. Stop, where do you want to go? Qin Lang suddenly stopped shouting, causing the man who was halfway in the air to stop. The man licked his lips and said with a smile, "Boss, I have no enmity with you. I just came here to watch the fun, so you're wearing your shelter uniform, Qin." Lang first chopped off two swords and evaporated the meatballs on the ground and then looked at the man. "Your official position is higher than Lin Lei. Lin Lei is the leader of the shelter, so who are you?" The man groaned. Well, if you don't tell me, I'll kill you." Qin Lang's eyes cleared. "Okay," I said. The man was very bachelor and spread his hands. "I'm the liaison officer from the headquarters." "Headquarters? Liaison officer, yes." The man nodded. "My name is Yizuan, from the headquarters, which is shelter number 1. After the world, many shelters have lost contact with the headquarters. I'm mainly responsible for finding these lost shelters. Look what happened." "Oh," Qin Lang said thoughtfully, "then I can't let you go." "Huh." Yizuan frowned. "Why? If I'll let you leave, the headquarters will know about my existence. I don't want to be taken over by some strange force." Qin Lang raised his head and said, "Don't worry, I will give you a good time." "Oops." Yizuan looked sad. "I'm still young and not ready to die now. Can we have a chat? Do I have anything to talk to you about?" To be honest, although I'm a liaison officer, I'm the one with the least background in the lowest level among all liaison officers. There is a high probability that I will be used as cannon fodder and pushed to the battlefield to be consumed in the future. Therefore, when I came out this time, I had no chance at all. Want to go back point? If this old guy Lin Lei hadn't been stuck on regional liberation, I would have gone far away. After a pause, Yizuan sighed and said, "I'm already dead, and it feels so uncomfortable to have to listen to those officials shouting and drinking. You let me go, and I'll exchange information about the shelter with you." Qin Lang put away his sword with a smile on his face. "Why do you want Lin Lei's regional liberation card?" "No, why do you know that the regional liberation card is on him? Doesn't it happen to you?" "How can it be?" Yizuan waved his hands repeatedly. "You really think highly of me. The reason why I know the old guy has a liberation card is because of this instrument." Yizuan took out a palm-sized metal disc. "This disc is a shelter technology specially designed to detect liberation cards. Unfortunately, this thing can only determine the approximate location." Qin Lang signaled Yizuan to give him the metal disc, but Yizuan was very obedient and threw out the disc. Qin Lang took the disc and looked at it carefully. He found that this thing and the compass in his hand were completely different items. They were basically worthless to him now. "Well, answer my first question." The first one to ask. "Oh." Yizuan smiled and said, "There are only 99 regional liberation cards in the world. They are rare but not sought. Isn't it normal for me to want this thing? Even if you get this thing, you won't be able to keep it." Qin Lang didn't explain much and walked straight to the depths of the shelter. Yizuan wanted to run, but didn't he dare, so he could only follow with a bitter smile. Based on the two liberation cards in his hand, Qin Lang successfully found the card hidden in the dormitory. N1, Land of Plenty Area Liberation Card. This is the name of the liberation card, coming from the N1 difficulty area. Qin Lang sinks his spirit into this card. Soon, a city that was dilapidated but full of vitality came into mind. There are at least tens of thousands of people living in this city, and their only enemies are a group of mourners who move slowly and have low attack power. Good guy, farms, orchards, pastures. Qin Lang quickly searched everything in the area and found that there was a very complete agricultural system. No wonder it could sustain people here for a long time. N1, it's more like heaven than N2. Qin Lang felt a little emotional. He had to go in and take a look after finishing what he was doing. Withdrawing from the regional liberation card, Qin Lang regained his composure. "Tell me, let me see if the information you have is enough to buy your life." Zuan was overjoyed. Don't worry, I'm indeed a low-level official, but the information I have is no less than that of the middle-level officials. In the next 10 minutes, Zuan Liu kept telling Qin Lang all the information about the shelter, no matter what should be said and what shouldn't be said. It's all like pouring beans through a bamboo tube. In the end, even Qin Lang was embarrassed to go back on his word and kill him. This young man was too sincere. Otherwise, sincerity is a killer. Boss Qin, all enemies in the shelter have been cleared. Wei Changqing, Wu Liu and Tyren walked in with happy faces. After losing Lin Lei as their leader, the soldiers in the shelter all chose to surrender wisely. It was very simple for the alliance to deal with a group of soldiers who had no intention of fighting. Well, the environment here is much better than where you live now. You can consider moving here. Qin Lang walked out. I've got what I want. Congratulations, Boss Qin. Song Changqing hurriedly congratulated. Do you have anything else to do? Qin Lang asked casually. There is indeed something. Song Changqing pulled Wu Liu over and said, although Zhao Liu and I are not related by blood, I have always regarded her as my biological sister. I want her to follow you. Follow me? Qin Lang's eyes were playful. Song Changqing said hurriedly, yes, I will be safe if I follow you. Of course, this is also Zhao Liu's own intention, right, Zhao Liu? Wu Liu rarely retorted and said, I want to see the outside world. I won't take you away. Qin Lang decisively refused. You haven't awakened yet, how can you see the outside world? With your current strength, if you follow me, you will die violently soon. I don't like carrying a towing oil bottle, but if you are willing to help me manage the farm, I can consider it. Farm? What farm? Wu Liu was disgusted by what he heard. I'll tell you later. Qin Lang pressed Wu Liu's side for the time being, and turned his attention to Zuan, who was in a determined mood. To kill or not to kill, that is the question. Sure enough, it would be better to kill him, in case he lied to me. Qin Lang made a decision in his heart. Boss Qin, I used to be a high-level manager in a company, and have some experience in management. If you leave your farm to me to help you manage it, I will definitely help you take care of it. Zuan suddenly said. Chapter 270 Arrival. This is a fertile and peaceful land. The sun is warm and white clouds are passing by. The gentle breeze blowing brings a bit of coolness to the people who are cultivating in the fields. If it were not for the ruins of a civilized era in the distance, people would suddenly feel that the end of the world has not happened and everything is imaginary. Suddenly, a beam of light shot down from the blue sky, and all the residents of the fertile land knelt down in the direction of the beam, their faces full of piety. They weren't surprised. In fact, a few months ago, a self-proclaimed god came down and asked them to hand over resources at a fixed time every month. Although this god has a huge appetite and demands a lot of food resources, fortunately the crops in this land are growing extremely vigorously, so he is not hungry. Lord God, the food for this month is not ready yet. The middle-aged man in charge of the city was confused. It was clear that the god had just arrived half a month ago, so why did he come again? Just when the man was confused, the beam of light dissipated, and two men and a woman walked out of it. It was none other than Qin Lang, Wu Liu and the shelter liaison officer Zuan, who had secured a way out for himself. What is going on here? Why is it here? Wu Liu had no idea what was going on. This was beyond her imagination. Zuan also expressed shock, but quickly reacted, his words full of exclamation. I heard from those senior officials that, even if you hold a liberation card, you can only be regarded as half a region master, because Advent requires extremely strong. Otherwise you can only come to the liberated area as a phantom. Boss Qin, I can't believe that I still underestimated your strength. You, even among the awakened ones, you are the top existence. At this moment, Zuan was completely devoted to Qin Lang, and no longer dared to have any thoughts of betrayal. The other party's strength is too terrifying. It is a kind of terror beyond his understanding. Maybe only that person can compete with it? Qin Lang ignored Zuan's flattery and smiled lightly. What did you call me? The middle-aged man testified, realized that the other party was talking to him, and hurriedly said, welcome the three gods. Got squirt. Qin Lang snorted. Lin Lei's face is so big that he dares to call himself a god. Along the way, I have killed many so-called gods. Get up, we are not gods, we are just people like you. Who? The middle-aged man was confused, but he got up obediently. From now on, the fertile land will be managed by these two, Wu Liu and Yi Zuan. You can help them, and just listen to his orders. Qin Lang will not explain so much to this man. To put it bluntly, people living in N1 really don't need to know too much. Yes, Guo Heping pays homage to Mr. Wu and Mr. Yi. You will live here from now on, and help me manage the fertile land. Go and understand the situation with Lao Guo first. I still have some things that I don't understand, so I'll find you later. Qin Lang raised his eyes and said, Wu Liu hunt, and left with Yi Zuan and Guo Heping point at this moment. No one can see the world in his eyes, except Qin Lang himself pointed it an all-round view with no blind spots. Let's put it this way, as long as he masters a view, N1 fertile land regional liberation card, then in this fertile land with a total area of more than 1000 square kilometers, that is, God in the creator, God, master I can actually build things here, but it will cost hell crystal cores. This was the first time Qin Lang had an in-depth understanding of the liberation card. During the process of exploration, he discovered that as a regional master, he could not only move around the area at will, but also build some strange buildings, even upgrading the liberation card. However, there are very demanding requirements. To upgrade from N1 to N2, you first need to unlock 3 buildings, namely, Original Creature Habitat, Border Monument, and Dominator Tower. The Hell Crystal cores that need to be spent are 1C tons, 15 tons, and 50 tons respectively. When the 3 buildings are completed, it will take 100 tons of Hell Crystal cores to upgrade. I'm indeed a poor man. Qin Lang doesn't even need to look at the storage space, it is simply not enough. Hiss. Wait. Qin Lang felt sorry for himself for a while, and suddenly thought of something that made his hair stand on end. The tailed beast's Cheyenne mines the Earth's crystal core, and Cheyenne's probability is also to increase the level of the liberation card. In other words, the strong men in the tailed beast clan may have already upgraded their liberation card to N3, N4 or even higher. The sense of crisis instantly exploded. Exclamation mark. Qin Lang slapped his face hard to calm down. You should have the awareness of being prepared for danger in times of peace, but don't overdo it, otherwise it will become a groundless worry. For now, let's get familiar with how to be a good region master. Qin Lang sat cross-legged and carefully studied the knowledge in the card. On the other side, Yi Zuan also briefly explained to Wu Liu what awakening was, what regional liberation was, what regional dominance was, etc. Wu Liu, have all the words stuck in my throat. She always thought that her strength was already very good. No matter how strong she would still be at Lin Lei's level until she met Qin Language. He not only broke her illusions, but also trampled her fragile little heart into powder. Only then did she know that when a person's combat power reaches 10 squares, he will become an awakened person. As for the awakened person, there are still 10 levels: Morning Star, Sacred Moon, and Eternal Sun. When a wide awakened person successfully upgrades a level to 3 Eternal Suns, 3 Sacred Moons, and 3 Morning Stars, he can also pass a certain level. A second awakening ceremony was carried out. What's wrong with you? Yi Zuan was in a good mood and glanced at Wu Liu, who was completely dull. Wu Liu was about to cry, but said without tears, if I try to connect to questions, I won't be able to connect to 3 suns. So what level is he at now? Yi Zuan looked serious. First of all, from now on you must use the honorific title, Sir, or Boskin. Secondly, what level Boskin is beyond the imagination of a building and like you. People, don't try to touch the sun, okay? Wu Liu. Of course, you don't have to be too sad. We are better than the top and more than the bottom. Look at the people here. Lao Guo, Master Yi. Guo Heping bowed hurriedly, not daring to neglect at all. Who among you has the highest combat power? How many are there? Guo Heping thought for a moment and replied, it should be me. My combat power is about 6,000. Zuan showed an expression that you could see on his face. Well, you couldn't laugh or cry. In the low difficulty area, I really don't know if it's a prison or a hell. The low difficulty area with Boss Qin is heaven. Without Boss Qin, it is hell. Yee. Zuan saw things quite clearly. Month show book recommendations. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271, Jiang Shan's request. The two of them walked and chatted. They quickly completed the residential area with Jiuo helping. Just as the two were about to go back to find Qin Lang, a tower appeared out of thin air in the endless wilderness. Jiuo Heping was startled and stammered, what is this? Qin Lang's voice came from behind. I moved the blood heart that will produce mourners to the north. I have built automatic watchtowers like this around the main residential area. Once a mourner approaches, they will not only automatically sound the alarm, and will also take the initiative to attack. As long as there is no household tide, ordinary bereaved households will not be able to survive. In the light of Wu and Liu's alarm, Qin Lang conjured 90 mourners nearby like a magic trick. As a result, those mourners were shot dead by the dense Qian as soon as they appeared. Their accuracy and power were equivalent to 10,000 humans with combat power. Marksman point in the future. Anyone who wants to hunt can go north. As long as they stay within the fertile land, there won't be much danger in this area. After Qin Lang said a few words briefly, he gave Wu Liu and Li Zuan each 5,000 kilograms of hell crystal cores for regional construction point in addition to the 3 upgraded buildings. There are many things that can be built in the area. It will take a long time to understand the uses of them all, so Qin Lang simply handed them over to 2 agents. Don't worry, Boss Qin. I will take good care of this fertile land. If you are dissatisfied with anything, feel free to chop off my head. Yi Zuan said seriously. Well, Qin Lang glanced at Wu Liu and smiled. If Song Changqing and others are willing to come here in the future, I will bring them in. You can live here for the time being. Wu Liu's head was still buzzing, and he nodded numbly. No wonder, she was given too much advanced knowledge at once, and needed time to digest it. Qin Lang stayed in Fengreo district for a night, enjoyed Wu Liu's wholehearted service, and left with satisfaction the next morning. If the people who live here are willing to explore the outside world more, their average combat strength will not be only a few thousand. Well, this is not a bad thing. Most people will choose the latter between taking risks and living in comfort. Qin Lang did not go far, but walked around the Fengreo district. With the Fengreo district as the center, the 3 nearby areas were N3, N4, and N6. The area of each area is different. Same. It seems like there is no standard at present. It's random. While Qin Lang was traveling through the storm, he was thinking about various information about the area. Unknowingly, he found a medium-sized comparison shelter not far away, where the survivors were fighting a large group of new types of Zerg. The bugs look a bit like mosquitoes. They are huge in size, with 3 arms spread out, and a body over 1 meter long. They move very fast, and use their sharp straws to spit out various types of attacks, such as sulfuric acid, fire, and ice. In order to cope with the big ecology here, most of the survivors chose long-range professions, such as sharpshooters, marksmen, magicians, etc., and they all have good elemental resistance. Although there are many flying insects, they cannot stop the survivors. Their hail of bullets and long-range magic were quickly repulsed. Guys, I would like to ask if there is an N2 area nearby. Qin Lang's sudden appearance startled the 10 men and women who were preparing to clean the battlefield. Everyone looked at him warily, and one of them, a middle-aged man holding a giant machine gun, whispered, "Who is your excellency? I'm just a passerby." Qin Lang smiled. "Passerby? I think you want to steal our loot." The middle-aged man raised his eyes and said in a very unkind tone, "I'm warning you, get as far away as you can, otherwise don't blame me for being rude to you. I have no interest in your trophies at all." Qin Lang joins hands. "Boss, explain this." Man, the combat power detector cannot detect how much combat power he has. Can't detect it. The middle-aged man named Jiang Shan was confused at this time. According to common sense, if a person's strength exceeds 100,000, an explosion will occur after the detector detects it. But does it mean that there is no reaction after the test? Could it be that this person's combat power is stronger than that of the awakened? Thinking of this possibility, Jiang Shan's tone softened a little. What did you ask just now? N2 area. I don't know. I only know that going all the way north is forbidden areas. That's either N9 or N10.0. Qin Lang nodded. In that case, thank you very much. Wait a moment. Jiang Shan called Qin Lang. Did you come back from a difficult area? Awakened. Qin Lang nodded. Put it down. Let it go. Jiang Shan signaled his companions to put down their weapons, and he also put away the machine gun. He said, I'm sorry, our bank has been fighting with hostile forces recently, and I thought you were him. Please pay me. Qin Lang waved his hand and said it was okay. Jiang Shan smiled and said, what do you call this, boss? Qin language. Oh, boss Qin. Jiang Shan cupped his fists and saluted. I wonder if you would like to come and sit in our nursing home. Casual. Great. Please come this way. Affection point. Jiang Guan led the way and welcomed Qin Lang into the bottom nursing home. There were not many people in the nursing home. There were no more than 10 people in total. When they saw the stranger, they all showed novel expressions. It seems that this general is not a bad person. Otherwise the residents will not. It would be so relaxing. Qin Lang nodded secretly. He had met many vicious shelter bosses along the way and had rich experience. He could often accurately judge the character of the operator by looking at the living environment and mental state of the residents of the deer shelter. Boss Qin, please. Jiang Shan invited Qin Lang to take a seat, and when he sat down, he smiled and said, Boss Qin is looking for the N2 area. Is it for the region liberation card? Qin Lang testified, and there were some rumors. How did you know about the regional liberation card? Although Jiang Shan has good combat prowess, he is not an awakened person after all. Logically speaking, he should not have such advanced information. Jiang Daijian guessed it correctly and said happily, although our area is not a difficult area, it is still N6. It is better than the previous one, but still better than the lower one. Is it normal to know some advanced information? Question mark. I don't know which direction the N2 area you are looking for is, but I know who is stuck in the N2 area. Qin Lang hung his hand in the air and put down the teacup. Don't be too impatient. Just tell me what you want me to do for you. But, Jiang Shan was overjoyed. Boss Qin, please tell me. Then I won't hide it anymore. As long as Boss Qin is willing to take action to destroy the Blood Sacrifice Sanctuary, I'm willing to give complete information. Blood Sacrifice Sanctuary? That's right. At the mention of this name, Jiang Shan's eyes suddenly became hot. These beasts relied on the powerful power behind them to attack our hunting team again and again. I don't know how many brothers died in their hands. Month. Show book recommendations chapter 272 Pure White. I can help you take action, but I must first know where this card is. Qin Lang told his story. Seeing that the general was hesitant, Qin Lang smiled a little strangely. Of course I can also use some unconventional means to make you have to say it. I don't really like threatening people unless the matter is particularly important to me. Jiang Shan's face changed slightly. He was not a fool. Of course he knew what Qin Lang said was true. In this and the future where the strong are respected, Qin Lang's willingness to lower his body and chat with him is already considered a good character. If it were to be replaced by another strong man who could absolutely crush him in terms of strength, would he still be able to live well here? Talking is a problem. Okay, let me tell you. I hope Boss Qin can keep his word. Jiang Shan loosened his clenched fists and said, the man you are looking for is in Nangui City. He has large burn marks on his face. He passed by us not long ago and said he was going to find someone there. Nan. GUI. Okay, when I find what I want, I will come back to help you handle things here. But if what you are saying is false information, you'd better take the people watching you away now. I never joke with people I don't know well. After saying that, Qin Lang stood up and left. After a long time, Jiang Guan realized that his clothes were soaked with sweat. This man is countless times stronger than the Burning Man, so terrifying. Nangui City, a medium-sized city, N5 area point compared with the areas Qin Lang passed through before. The overall situation in Nangui City was much better. Along the way, he saw at least a dozen shelters with more than 100 people. The two closest ones were only a few streets away, and they were in peace with each other. Qin Lang knew very well that there could only be one reason for this situation, and that was that there was a huge force in Nangui City that prevented these shelters from killing each other. Friend, are you coming from another area? Qin Lang was about to land when he heard a magnetic voice coming from below. Ding King took a look and saw that the speaker was an uncle with a beard. He was estimated to be in his 50s or 60s. His beard and hair were covered with white frost. Qin Lang fell down and smiled at the bearded man. How do you know that I came from other areas? Haha, that's for sure. The bearded who laughed happily. We are only in the N5 area, and there are many awakened ones. You can spot any unfamiliar faces at a glance. Flying is the simplest and crudest standard used to judge whether one is an awakened person. The awakened ones may not be able to fly, but those who can fly must be the awakened ones. It seems that you also went into the underground palace to hunt for treasures. Unfortunately, you came a few days late. The bearded man smiled and said. Qin Lang found that the man in front of him looked approachable and harmless, but in fact he was very powerful, stronger than most of the people he had seen recently, and possibly even above Yuzuan. Underground palace? Qin Lang shook his head. I don't know about the underground palace. I came here to find someone with fire scars on his face. Fire scar? The bearded man groaned and suddenly realized. Oh, you are here to see the Burning Man. You've seen him. Yes, he came to Nangui a few days ago. Like you, he was looking for someone. Unfortunately, the person he was looking for was no longer in Nangui. It happened that the underground palace opened, and he went in. The bearded man turned around and pointed in the direction. Do you want me to take you there? Thank you. Qin Lang followed the beard to the entrance of the underground palace. This underground palace is called Hunters and Prey. To put it simply, after survivors enter, they will be automatically labeled as hunters or prey. This label will be rotated randomly at regular intervals. As long as you complete the tasks of your current identity, you can get rewards. It looks interesting. Qin Lang memorized the rules firmly and asked, why don't you enter the underground palace? The bearded man smiled and said, I have been in there many times, but I have never been able to complete the task. Instead of wasting time inside, it is better to find more monsters to kill outside. This is true. As someone who has participated in underground palaces and secret realms many times, Qin Lang knows that the rewards given in daily tasks are only grasshopper legs. Only by clearing the level can you get the best reward. But clearing the level is not easy. I haven't been to the underground palace for a while. Qin Lang stretched his hands and feet, hugged his fists, and walked straight in. However, just after Qin Lang entered the underground palace and disappeared, the bearded face that had been sunny and welcoming a second ago suddenly turned gloomy. He made a series of sinister smiles and took out the walkie-talkie. Another prey has taken the bait. This time, it's a big fish. It's probably bigger than any fish we've caught before. Shasha shasha sha. Okay. Brothers are here. Shasha. I like fishing for skyfish the most. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Boss Beard still has a solution. It's coming. It's coming. The underground palace is deserted and extremely desolate. The ground has large areas of cracks due to dry trunks, and there are many dead trees standing here and there. Strange birds occasionally fly up from the bones of many unknown creatures. Qin Lang was observing the surrounding environment, and a man in clothes suddenly appeared not far away. When he saw Qin Lang, he felt like he was seeing a big dinner. He rushed up with a strange scream and sprayed saliva randomly from his mouth. Qin Lang summoned the giant sword and swung it casually. The group of men and women were all knocked away. They died on the spot for a day and a half. The remaining people screamed and crawled back. They have never seen a strong man like Qin Lang. Are these people crazy? Or are they infected with a disease? Or are they mind controlled? Qin Lang murmured to himself. Don't kill me. The woman with dry skin suddenly spoke and begged. I am just too hungry. So you just regarded me as food. Qin Lang's face was filled with frost. The addicted woman's face was pale, and her eyeballs were sunken deep into her sockets due to long-term lack of nutrition. She trembled and said, "Yes, isn't it? I'm sorry. Why are you so hungry?" Qin Lang didn't quite understand. Yes, this underground palace looked quite deserted, but it wasn't like there was nothing at all. The addicted woman cried, "We have fallen into a trap. This is not an underground palace at all, but a trap. There is a blank here, a blank with nothing. I'm hungry." In order for Qin Lang to understand what he said, the addicted woman struggled to crawl aside and tried to grab the bones on the ground, but all she could get was air. Qin Lang raised his brows, filled his eyes with anger, and shouted loudly. A flash of light flashed from Qin Lang's eyes, and the next second, everything here changed. There is no dry earth, no ghostly trees, and no birds in the sky. There is just blankness now. It was pure white. Chapter 273, Old Friends and Traps. Qin Lang raised his eyes slightly, and after thinking for a moment, he knew what was going on. It is beyond human power to be able to hide even him and create such a seamless trap. Then the only answer is that the underground palace did exist, but it has been cleared. The underground palace he is entering now is just a clearance. The rewards for clearing the hunter and prey underground palace created by the treasure are traps. 1 by 1. Makes sense. Chirping grumble. The addicted woman behind him threw herself on her companion's body, gnawing at his flesh and blood crazily, laughing maniacally as she ate, which was weird and a bit miserable. God knows how long they had been trapped in this trap with no supplies. "Have you ever seen a man with flame scars on his face?" Qin Lang asked. It took a while for the woman to react, and she raised her finger and pointed in one direction. He, sooner or later, just like us, will starve to death here. It's delicious." Qin Lang did not kill this addicted woman, but walked in one direction. He is not worried at all that he will be trapped and die here. With his current resource reserves, he will not starve to death, even if he is trapped for a few years. What's more, this trap is not indestructible. The top priority is to find the burning man, and then settle the score with the hunter. However, ideas are still ideas, and reality often develops in another uncontrollable direction. At the same time that Qin Lang was looking for the burning man, 4 men and 2 women appeared in the trap space out of thin air, led by the bearded boss. The bearded boss looked at the addicted woman who was almost pushing himself to death with a look that looked at an animal. "Where is that kid? Where did he go?" He went there, over there. As if she had seen the savior, woman crawled in front of the bearded boss, grabbed his legs tightly, and cried, "Let me go. I can do anything you ask me to do. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. You know you're wrong, bearded." God has a cold look in his eyes. No, you don't know. You just know you are scared. The bearded boss, half hidden in front of the woman, grabbed her chin and showed a cruel smile. "You should have had this kind of awareness when you betrayed me and slept with them. I was wrong. I was wrong. Don't you love me? Question mark. Please continue to love me. I love you, Mom. You don't even look at QIU. What the hell are you doing now? Get out." The bearded boss kicked the woman more than 10 meters away, raised his hand, and summoned an off-road vehicle. "Let's go. The hunting begins." Hey. The 6 people got into the car one after another and chased in that direction. Trapped in space, somewhere, a man with a large flame scar on his face was roasting a roast lamb. The appearance of a strong aura in the distance attracted his attention. He looked up, his eyes becoming a little wary. Qin Lang also discovered the burning man on the ground and stopped at a distance. Strangely enough, the burning man looked familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere. "Who are you?" The burning man's eyes were clear. In a certain battle, his eyes were injured and his vision was damaged. Although it was not serious, he could only see blurry figures at this distance. The more Qin Lang looked at this fiery man, the more familiar he felt, and finally he recognized who this person was. He was a little unbelievable. Wang Gui. The burning man was stunned for a moment and wiped his eyes vigorously. When he saw the man landing in front of him, tears filled his eyes with excitement. "Old boss." Wang Gui cried out, "Why is it you? You, how did you come here?" Qin Lang had mixed feelings when he saw the old friend he had known since his early days. Besides Lin Wana, Wang Jiui was the second person to follow him. Even his earliest space ring was obtained through a trade with Wang Jiui. I really didn't expect that you could survive until now and still be awakened, and you are pretty strong. Qin Lang squeezed Yugi's shoulder hard. No wonder he didn't recognize him at first, not only because of the scars all over his face, but also because his whole temperament became calm and resolute points despite his clear eyes. This is the indifference and cruelty that can only come from someone who has experienced countless life and death fights, and seen countless tragic things. Only you, Wang Jiui's eyes dimmed. Little Baoa is dead. Well, Qin Lang was silent. He was in the innate difficult area. It would be a miracle if a little boy with no fighting ability could survive until now. By the way, do you have a regional liberation card in your hand? Wang Jiui nodded. Yes, boss. Do you want it? What attribute is it? Qin Lang was delighted. Wang Jiui took out the card and handed it to Qin Lang without thinking much. Qin Lang was overjoyed when he saw the card. Just one of the cards he needs. N2 Desert Area Liberation card. Got the third card. The second awakening is getting closer and closer. This card is useful to me. I can trade it with you for something in my hand. Need not. Wang Jiui shook his head. Boss, if you want it, just take it. I got this thing by chance, and I don't have anything missing at the moment. Wang Jiui behaved very magnanimously. If a person is not afraid of death, he will naturally not care about these external things. Then, I won't be polite to you. Qin Lang put the card away. I heard that you are looking for someone. Yes, I'm looking for an enemy. Wang Jiui's pupils condensed. His name is Zheng Wangyan. He used to be my subordinate, but he betrayed me and killed many of the Yuandi of the Bahuso. I found him, and I must kill him with all my strength. I advise you two to put aside the matter of killing and consider whether you can survive today first. A red off-road vehicle appeared out of thin air more than 10 meters away, and 4 men and 2 women got out of the car. They were the hunting team of the bearded boss. The bearded boss carried a hunting rifle and smiled and said, I originally wanted to starve you for a few months before taking action, but the brothers have not eaten meat for too long, and they are a little greedy. Qin Lang raised the corner of his mouth and praised sincerely. Good tricks. I really didn't expect that I would be calculated by you. Are you the winner of the Hunter's Underground Palace? That's right. The bearded boss smiled honestly. Do you see that this is a trap? There is something. The winner of the Hunter's Underground Palace can obtain a treasure called Trap Space. No one who steps into the trap can escape the hunter's pursuit. Bearded boss, this guy's pretty good looking. Let us play with him for a few days before killing him. The 2 women in the team showed a dissolute smile. That's absolutely no problem. Bearded boss had a look of confidence on his face. How do you say it? Do you want to struggle or surrender? You choose. Of course, I hope you can struggle a little. Otherwise I won't feel a sense of accomplishment when hunting. Why? Do you think you have me? Qin Lang was very curious. Where did this confidence come from? Chapter 274, Seconds. The bearded boss laughed out loud. Are you letting it go? Do you think my ability to trap space is just to trap people in it? Then you are wrong. A big mistake. Being marked as a prey, when you face me as a hunter, your overall strength will be reduced by 30%. On the contrary, my overall strength will be increased by 30%. In this case, how can I not win? This trap space is indeed an artifact with the same bug as multiplier. When the strength of the 2 sides is not much different, there is almost no possibility of survival for people trapped in the space. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes to escape. The bearded boss fired a gun into the sky. In 5 minutes, we will start a killing spree. It won't take 5 minutes. Qin Lang shook his head and raised a finger. What do you mean? Few people didn't understand. It's 1 minute enough. The bearded old man laughed and laughed. You are so overestimating your abilities. You misunderstood. I mean, 1 minute is enough for me to lose you. Qin Lang looked serious. What did he say? Kill us in 1 minute. Ha ha ha. PFFT. Ha 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 ha. All 6 people laughed wildly. This joke is so funny. They had hunted many powerful men before this, and they had never seen such a fool as Qin language. Boss, haha, I almost died laughing at your date. He doesn't seem to understand what you said, haha. The tallest man in the team kept laughing and pulled out the long force from his waist. Let me do it, try his depth. Okay, don't kill him. Dazu and Zaozu still want to have fun with this kid. The bearded boss smiled and said, point boss. Wang Gui walked out and said, to deal with such a small character, you don't need to take action. Qin Lang smiled lightly, are you sure? Now is not the time to be strong. Wang Gui hummed, don't worry, boss, I'm not that strong. If it's 1 to 6, I might not have a good chance of winning. 1 to 1, even if one goes against the other, I can definitely control it with ease. Qin Lang took a step back with a smile on his face. Okay, let me see your performance. Plus. You are pretending to be your mother. Changli Nan was angry on the spot. Look how I chopped you up. The long knife rolled up a strong wind and struck Wang Gui. Wang Gui did not retreat but moved forward. He opened his palms and 2 balls of high temperature flames condensed in his palms. The moment the long knife fell, he grabbed the long knife with one hand and held it with the other. He clenched his hand tightly and hit the man with the long knife hard on the chest point. The man with the long knife was hit hard on the chest and took several steps back. His body became even more angry and he launched an attack as if he was desperate. Unfortunately, his speed was always slower than that of Zhugui. The two sides fought for more than 10 rounds and Wang Gui didn't even get a hair hurt. On the contrary, Chang Linan was punched 10 times and his clothes were burned. Bearded old Shianal said, it seems that this kid deserves something. Why don't you just step back? No. Boss, don't worry, I definitely can't lose this person to you. The man with the long knife was very strong. He looked up to the sky and roared, you force me to do it. I'm going to do it for real. Cough. Wang Gui's eyes were sarcastic, and he actually retreated behind Qin Lang and said with a smile, my battle is over, boss, I'm sorry. Qin Lang's pupils narrowed, and then he saw the area where the man with the long knife had been hit exploded one after another, with a strange look on his face, and turned into a pile of minced meat in an instant. Wang Gui's profession is a explosive fighter, a profession that can ignore armor, blast explosive seeds into the enemy's body, and conduct internal explosions. It seems to be soft, and has no lethality. When the man with the long knife was in his body, he was already dead, and the next battle was just for him to play around in boredom. A very powerful profession, Qin Lang praised, looking at the Lord with admiration. The bearded boss was very shocked and annoyed when he saw his companion dead. The 5 of them looked at each other and rushed over at the same time. So, you don't have martial ethics? 5 people come together and carry out a sneak attack. Qin Lang moved away, condensing a giant sword in his right hand. Don't say 5 people, just 50. You will all die for me. The words fell. The arc of light streaked through the sky, and without exception, the 5 people were cut off at the waist, and the 10 fragments fell to the ground, with blood and internal organs flowing freely. The bearded boss exclaimed in disbelief, this is impossible. Why are you so strong? You are obviously weakened. What level of awakened person are you? The bearded boss regretted it. I never dreamed that I would end up like this. The hunter is killed instantly by the prey. Qin Lang sneered, I'm an awakened person who is 1 step away from awakening for the 2nd time. Do you think I will be afraid of being weakened? 2nd awakening, what is that? Damn. It was Qin Lang's soul that answered. Bearded God's head was trampled into meat paste, and the other 4 people did not die on the spot. They all have strong vitality, and they can even recover after a while if left alone. This is the power of the awakened. Boss, don't kill us, please. Let us do anything. Me, my sister and I can sleep with you. We are very good at martial arts. 2 women in the team screamed, didn't you just want to play with me? 2 extremely scary flesh thorns grew on Qin Lang's right hand. I'll play with you. No. Puff. The flesh thorns pierced through the heads of the 2 women and pierced out from their chins, killing them. Ugh. The last 2 men left. One was scared to death on the spot, and the other became crazy and kept laughing. Qin Lang killed him and then took out the Trap space, from the bearded man. This is a small prop similar to a trap, which is 1/4 the size of a palm. It is very interesting. Its function is very simple, disguised as an underground palace, attracting people to enter, and improving and weakening the overall strength inside. It suits me very well. It's too easy to use it to trap people. Qin Lang confiscated the warehouse of the bearded old man, activated the props, and left the trap space with GUI. Boss, here's my contact information. If you need me, just ask. You sure you don't want to come with me? I'll meet you after I kill Zheng Wangyuan. ZHUGUI had made up his mind. Seeing this, Qin Lang stopped trying to persuade him. He patted him on the shoulder and gave Wang Gui 1000 kilograms of Hell Crystal Core. Take it. Maybe you'll need it later. Don't die, boss. Don't worry. I don't plan to give up my life for now. I still want to fight with you like before. ZHUGUI smiled and clasped his fists. See you later. Go. Since sending ZHUGUI away, Qin Lang has been in a very good mood. Not only did he get the 3rd liberation card, but he also accidentally seized an old 6 trap. If this thing is used well, it will definitely be a killer. There. To left. Lava and Ocean. Chapter 275. Fulfilling the Promise. In the ruins, the smoke slowly dissipated. Facing the hundreds of gunmen who walked out of the dust curtain, Jiang Shan's expression was extremely gloomy. He looked at the comrades beside him, his eyes dim. At this time, there were only about 10 people on his side, who were still capable of fighting, and the others were either killed or seriously injured. Brother Shan, are we going to die? Sitting next to Jiang Shan was an unattractive woman. Her face was already stained red with blood. The afterglow of the setting sun reflected on her face, adding a bit of tragedy. Jiang Wan's lips moved, but in the end he said nothing. He is not afraid of death, he just feels that dying is too embarrassing. Brother Shan. The woman lowered her head to load the spear, then suddenly smiled and said, I know you think I'm ugly. Can you promise me that, if I'm reincarnated into a beautiful girl in the next life, can you marry me? Who thinks you are too ugly? Ugly? Jiang Shan gritted his teeth. It's already this damn time. What nonsense are you talking about? Brother Guan, take your brothers and leave quickly. I'll give you some time. The woman just stuck her head out for a moment and was hit by hundreds of rounds of bullets, leaving bullet holes all over the wall. You are just a fucking woman from the cooking class. Why are you trying to steal my line? Shouldn't I be the one to say this line? Jiang Shan laughed angrily at the success. The remaining 10 people were nearby, and they all laughed when they heard the general talking to the woman. It would be great if I could have a cigarette to smoke at this time. Jiang Shan sighed heavily and held the woman in his arms. His eyes were a little sad. The woman was placed in the arms of the man she loved, quietly waiting for death to come. In fact, there is no use in resisting in this situation. The opponent is so strong that it is a miracle that they can survive until now. The footsteps were getting closer and closer, and the two sides were only 20 meters apart. Jiang Shan, do you have any last words? My last words are, plus you are mother. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. When a person is about to die, his words are also evil. Just say this to you. After I kill you, I will reward all the women in your bullshit shelter to the brothers for fun. I'll fuck your mother. A young man stood up and pulled the trigger. However, the opponent was already prepared. All the bullets hit the shield and bounced away. One bullet penetrated his head and killed him. Go on, kill them. The footsteps suddenly became rapid, and more than 100 people formed a circle and gathered from both sides. Brother Shan, I'm scared. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Jiang Shan hugged the woman tightly, ready to pull the explosive hidden in his vest at any time. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Jiang Shan groaned, and when he was about to pull the string, something happened suddenly. The footsteps suddenly stopped, followed by a question. Who are you? What's the situation? Jiang Shan poked his head out somewhat strangely and saw a figure standing less than 5 meters away from him. He was facing the gunmen of more than 100 blood inspectors. Blood Sacrifice Sanctuary? The man asked. That's right. We are from the Blood Sacrifice Shelter. Why are you stopping us? Are you tired of living? The leader of the blood sacrifice was a young man with sinister eyes, who scolded him coldly. The man did not answer the young man, but turned to look at Jiang Shan in the ruins, and said with a smile, "Remember me? Ah, it's you." Jiang Shan instantly remembered who this man was. It was Qin Lang, who passed by not long ago, and the two parties completed a transaction. Qin Lang was in a good mood, and said with a smile, "Fortunately, I caught up. If I had come 1 minute later, I'm afraid you would all be wiped out, boss." Qin. "Be careful, they are very strong." While Jiang Shan was happy, he did not remind Qin Lang. The blood inspector protected all the extremely powerful beings. "Fine." Qin Lang waved his hand and turned around. "Oh, I understand. You are the reinforcement invited by Jiang Shan. You are the only one who wants to fight with us. Do you have the strength?" The young man laughed. However, Qin Lang's sudden fall from the sky was a bit embarrassing, but there were so many people who could fly, so it was nothing. Qin Lang's arm shook and he drew his giant sword. "I promised the general that, as long as he finds what I want, I will get rid of the blood sacrifice shelter for him, so I'm sorry." "Huh? Get rid of the blood sacrifice sanctuary? Ha 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 ha. Did I hear you correctly? Did you take the wrong medicine? Why do you have that? Just because you can brag, if you open your mouth." The group of people all laughed crazily. If a person dares to challenge the blood sacrifice sanctuary, he is absolutely insane. "Boss, this kid doesn't know the heights of heaven and earth. Let me take care of him." A burly and strong man stepped out of the queue. His body swayed, and many brown hairs grew on his skin, like a human-shaped brown bear. "What?" Qin Lang was stunned for a moment. He saw the shadow of Zhu Yun and this strong man. Just like that, the strong man rushed over and slapped him on the body. The strong man was a little stunned. His palm could even knock down a house, but why didn't he feel anything when it hit this person? Exactly the same way. Qin Lang grabbed the bear's paw with one hand and twisted it hard. Click, click, click. At the same time as the sound of broken bones sounded, Qin Lang rushed into the crowd. The scene that happened next was unforgettable for Jiang Shan. It took less than 3 minutes. Qin Lang killed all the elites of the blood sacrifice shelter without leaving a single one. This was not a battle at all, but a one-sided massacre. No one could block a sword in front of Qin Lang. Too strong. Jiang Shan's eyes turned red. He knew Qin Lang was strong, but he didn't expect him to be so strong. Compared with him, he was completely two different species. "Where is the blood sacrifice shelter?" "Well, Boskin, you don't have to go." Jiang Shan shook his head vigorously. "The people here are the elite of the blood sacrifice shelter, and you have killed them all." "Oh." Qin Lang nodded. "Then our deal is done." "Yes." Jiang Shan limped to Qin Lang. "Boskin has got what he wanted." "Yes, otherwise I wouldn't have turned back." "Okay." Jiang Shan bowed vigorously. "Boskin is indeed a man who keeps his promise. I, Jiang Shan, will remember this favor." Qin Lang waved his hand. "It's not a favor, it's just a small favor. By the way, if you can't make it one day, you can take people to live in my area. That place is quite safe." "Your area?" Jiang Shan was uncertain. "Are you talking about the Liberation Card area?" Question mark. "Why are you so shocked?" Qin Lang was a little surprised. This is not right. I heard that, in order to open all the functions of the regional liberation card, you need extremely strong strength. Could it be that you, Boskin?" Jiang Shan swallowed hard, realized something, and exclaimed, "I'm willing to bring my brothers to join your area." Show this book monthly recommendation. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.